Now can he take Leandro? John Barnes now. It might go all the way for England. Barnes! He scored! And England, amazingly, are into the lead. Wilkins with it. Woodcock making himself available. Pearce there with him. Barnes also available. He got his cross in well. And another one!
And penalty it is. And it's Acosta who will take it. And who scores. Aguilera. Montelongo. Cabrera waiting for the header. And he might now get the chance as Watson. Three waiting for the cross. The crowd stand up expectantly. And they have what they were wanting.
Valvi to sneak in and score. 2 points for Finland and an unhappy start for Northern Ireland, whose squad for next Wednesday's World Cup qualifier against Romania includes a new face, Brighton winger.
And he puts it forward. All sorts of trouble. It's an own goal. And that looks like Jurgelescu, the number 6, who's put it into his own net. And 1-0 for Northern Ireland. Here's Augustine going through. Jennings on. The chance for the chip from Hadji, and it's there. Norman Whiteside. Here we see it again. Whiteside onside, and he makes no mistake. 2-1. Stewart. 2 men with him. Does well. Armstrong's there. 4 for Neil. It does! And it's there. The cross looked too long. Augustine with the header. Good save from Jennings. And now Kenny Sansom. Wilkins is in there. And Robson! What a goal! At last, the crowd have something to cheer. And it couldn't have been finished in better style.
And exposed, Yugoslavia went 1 goal up. But watch the fight back with this new spirited Scottish team. The equaliser scored only 2 minutes later when Davy Cooper picked it up here and swept this very elegantly home. 1 each. And now watch this delightful 1-2 with the Scottish captain, Graham Souness, playing perhaps the best he's ever played for his team, getting right through there. May have looked offside, but it counted 2-1. Souness the scorer. And now exquisite finishing by Kenny Dalglish, playing as only he can and finishing with that deadly accuracy and making it look oh so easy. 3-1 for Scotland, virtually on the half-time whistle, and looking very good indeed. And Scotland made their intentions quite clear at the start, with Mo Johnson right through here, the goal exposed, or else that could have been 4. But the 4th, not long delayed, as Paul Sturrock, the substitute, rammed that in, emphasising Scotland's brilliant superiority. The next goal by Mo Johnson himself, well deserved. Crossed by Bett from the left, and Johnson very sweetly down. And still more to come. The goal scored by Charlie Nicholas, who came on as a substitute. Mo Johnson's header, and there was Charlie, just flicking it ever so easily over.
Again in the 36th minute, through a clever volley from Jose Ponce. Argentina, in fact, gave a commanding performance, even without their overseas players like Maradona. And in the 57th minute, they scored again. The ball bundled in at the far post by Jorge Burruchaga. One bright note for Beckenbauer was the return to the international team of Felix Magath, who's been in voluntary exile. And from Magath's free kick, his Hamburg teammate Dietmar Jakobs headed West Germany's consolation goal 12
on Wednesday, heading Portugal's winner in Sweden. And of course Mickey Walsh, who showed his striking power in a World Cup context for the Republic of Ireland in Dublin.
Porto now in Italy with Verona, the scorer, in front of a capacity crowd of 45,000 in Copenhagen. The football-loving Danes inspired by Denmark's heroics in the European Championship. Meanwhile, in Group 5, it was another Italian-based striker, Austria's Walter Schachner, giving Hungary a scare in the 26th minute in Budapest. But this powerful header from Nagy was one of 3 goals in a splendid second half for Hungary. They've hardly performed with distinction recently, but Esterházy putting Hungary 2-1 in front. The final goal for the jubilant Hungarians, courtesy of a goalkeeping error following the shot from Kardos. But while the other European nations set out on the long road to Mexico, Italy, of course, have already qualified as holders. And it was 2 of those World Cup winners, Conti's cross for Cabrini's magnificent header, producing the only goal of Italy's first team-building exercise for those 86 finals against Sweden.
The Soviet Union have made a dreadful start to this group, and they followed up their defeat in Dublin by conceding a penalty in Oslo in the 54th minute. Torresen scored from the spot, and Norway were dreaming of a victory like the one over England 3 years ago. But after 75 minutes, the Soviet Union equalised with a fine goal. The scorer was Litovchenko, bringing great relief to the Soviets, who got away with...
Side here, but just wide. 35th minute. Stewart involved again, giving the ball to Nigel Worthington. He drilled over a low cross for new boy Jimmy Quinn to gleefully knock it into the net. His first goal of the season. With bearded midfielder Turk prompting in midfield, Israel... and that man Ian Stewart again had them reeling with a 3rd goal just before half-time. Stewart's low cross measured to perfection for Lee Doherty, making it a dream debut for the youngster.
Against a useful Spanish side who were ahead after only 7 minutes. Rancon scoring on his home ground. Fine goalkeeping by Neville Southall kept Wales in contention until 7 minutes from the end when Carrasco struck a beautifully hit free kick. The poorly placed Welsh wall, though, offered little defence. Gordillo set up the Spaniards' 3rd for the unmarked Bargueno, seconds from the end.
And it's Paul McStay, the youngest Scotsman on the field, gets his first goal for Scotland. Cleanly won by McLeish. McLeish with a layoff to Paul McStay. And a great goal from McStay. Sheer genius from the Celtic midfield player. And Scotland go 2 in front. Willie Miller has Nicola ahead. Beck leaves it for Johnston. Swinson is back. There is Willie Miller, and there's the header. And it's Charlie Nicholas.
Verkouteren, Czerniatinski, Groen, Verkouteren, Groen, prachtig weer. Is er nu iemand? Ja! Nico Klaassen. Ja, ik was dus blijkbaar niet de enige die vond dat het ook tijd werd. Dat er wat zou van komen. Knappe aanval. Groen, Verkouteren, Groen door. Verkouteren wachten tot hij voorbij is. Dan net buiten bereik voor de eerste keer van Moesta. En wie is daar? Nico Klaassen natuurlijk. Zijn eerste internationaal doelpunt voor de Rode Duivels. Het is lang geleden dat Albanese met zoveel volk op onze 11 zijn geweest. En Omouri schiet hem erin ook. Met nog 20 minuten te spelen. Een prachtige actie van de Albanese. Omouri ziet hem gaan. Op het gepaste ogenblik de dieptepas. De dribbel. En 1-1, consternatie en groot, die kan het u zeggen. Kouteren, oudswinger. Van der Rijken met rechtervoetlop. Tegen de lat. En dan nog wel met zijn rechter die lop van René. Voor Dekkers onvrijwillig handspel. Nu de goede voorzet. En wat geeft hij? Strafschop. Dank je. Ja, één ding staat vast. Ravander zal wel nooit met vakantie naar Albanië gaan. Het is de derde man die het moet doen. Tegen de paal. Nico Klaassen. En weer intrappen. Dat wordt normaal geacht. Missen. En men heeft koek gegeten. Schifo! Schifo doet het nog! Oh, eindelijk! Eindelijk! Ron die een weer goede prestatie qua bedrijvigheid. Nu ook af met een doelpunt. Kijk hoe hoog hij gaat. Mist al de verkeerde voet. En dus 1 minuut na die gemiste strafschop dan toch 2-1. En Gietijs zal wel op niet meer gehoopt hebben. Dat zal wel voor hem het belangrijkste zijn. 2 punten, hoe dan ook. Aan de rest kan men nog altijd schaven. En wachten tot iedereen erbij is. Nico Klaassen. En die voordekkers. Goed schot. En 3-1. Daarmee zit we gerust. Glasbak en die voordekkers. Wat zo dikwijls bij Waterschei niet lukt. Na een prachtactie komt er hier wel Nico Klaassen. Goed naar binnen. En dan die voordekkers. Halve volley. Onhoudbaar. En 3-1.
Smolarek. Przed chwilą był z lewej, teraz jest z prawej strony. Dziekanowski na polu karnym. Bunson Dziekanowski! Czyha tam na błąd greckich obrońców Dariusz Dziekanowski. Kofidis. Kofidis, groźnie Kofidis. Mitropoulos. Zablokowana piłka przez naszych obrońców, ale jeszcze nie koniec. Gorąco w dalszym ciągu pod naszą bramką. Grecy, strzał z daleka, brawo Kaźmierski. Świetne uderzenie. Kąt. A teraz zostawili tutaj, dostrzegł tę lukę Hadzopoulos. Natychmiastowa decyzja. Semerdidis. Anastopoulos. Mitropoulos z prawej strony. Anastopoulos. I rzut wolny dla greckiej drużyny. Około 25 metrów do bramki Jacka Kaźmierskiego. Vamvakoulos, brawo Kaźmierski, fantastyczne obrona polskiego bramkarza. Jeszcze nie koniec, Xantopoulos. I Mitropoulos zdobywa prowadzenie w 34 minucie dla drużyny greckiej. No myślę, proszę Państwa, że wszystkiego się spodziewaliśmy, ale nie takiego obrotu sprawy na stadionie w Zabrzu. Dariusz Kubicki rozpoczyna akcję polskiej drużyny. Dariusz Dziekanowski. Zbigniew Boniek, który wyraźnie czuje się jednak w żywiole w ataku. Zbigniew Boniek, pole karne. Pałasz, długo przyjmował do piłkę Smolarek. Karaś, no, mina trenera techniczka mówi sama za siebie. Greccy obrońcy. Karaś, Diaz. Karaś z lewej strony, niepilnowany. Dostrzegł Smolarka, świetnie zagrany Smolarek. Może przełamią Polacy. Wreszcie jest Smolarek. 16 minuta drugiej części spotkania. Znakomite zagranie Jerzego Diaza. Dostrzegł tam wreszcie lukę w tej obronie greckiej. No i może ciekawszego i zgodnie z naszymi oczekiwaniami, z marzeniami. No może Polacy teraz z większym zębem, z furią, z zaciętością rzucą się do osiągnięcia zwycięstwa w tym meczu. 1-1 Włodzimierz Smolarek. W 61 minucie meczu. Boniek. Z prawej strony Kubicki. Dostrzegł go Zbigniew Boniek. Rozciągnięcie gry. Ale teraz przydałoby się przyspieszenie. Andrzej Pałasz. Żmuda. Z pierwszej piłki. Rzadkość to do Karasia. Natychmiast zagrożenie na polu karnym. Karaś. Dziekanowski. I potem. No wreszcie. Wreszcie po akcji z pierwszej piłki nie było tego długiego rozgrywania. i znakomite uderzenie Dariusza Dziekanowskiego. 7. bramka w reprezentacji, 5. w tym roku. 2-1. No, używając terminologii bokserskiej, oby poszli biało-czerwoni za cios. A teraz to nieważny Dziekanowski przed szansą zdobycia drugiej bramki. Dziekanowski będzie 3-1. Jest 3-1. No, wreszcie. Miał być wielkim talentem, a potem mu zarzucano, że tego nie potwierdza. Ale teraz z doświadczeniem zawodnika, który ma niemal 8- czy 10-letni staż reprezentacyjny, wyczekał do ostatniego momentu, położył bramkarza i popatrzmy, jak podwyższył na 3-1 dla naszej drużyny.
Paul Jakobsen raced on to Oakland's return pass to score off McDonough's legs. This Group 6 is becoming a succession of 1-0s. 5 of the 6 games so far have ended with that score. And when in Bern, an awful header by Nielsen of Denmark was speedily seized by Barbaris, it meant that Switzerland headed the group. 2 goals, 4 points. Are we seeing a revival of Hungary? But it didn't look like it when they were behind to the Dutch in Rotterdam after 19 minutes. The scorer, Kieft, who plays his football by the Leaning Tower of Pisa. But the Hungarians, winners of their opening match of Group 5 against Austria, were level 6 minutes later. After missed kicks by attackers and defenders alike, Lajos Deteri knew what he was doing. So did Martin Esterhazy, when 10 minutes after the interval, the Dutch, bent on attack, were caught by a long ball and beaten by the speed of a flick. No matter for now that the Hungarians later missed a penalty. West Germany's Group 2 road to Mexico started from Cologne. New boss Franz Beckenbauer had been pretty rude about his star players. But 15 minutes away from a scoreless draw with Sweden, he found a new one, Uwe Rahn. A goal with his first international kick. An inspired substitution difficult to believe, even for the man who made it. 2 minutes from time, the biggest star of all, Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, responded with a moment of virtuosity.
Paul Mann had the chance to impress.
By Williams, and Huitinen couldn't hold it. It came off Woodcock. Barnes, it's off the bar. Hately! Touched on by Robson. Woodcock in behind Finland. Pekkanen on the line. And Woodcock finally forced it in. It's Woodcock's goal. Hately. Stevens goes outside him, but Hately doesn't need any help. Finland simply could not stop him. Sanson. And acres of space for John Barnes. Hately and Brian Robson could simply have walked it over the line. Chamberlain against tired defenders. And it's reached Sansom. 46 times Kenny Sansom's played for England.
Wdowczyk. Boniek. Boniek i bramkarz Musta. Ragami, Bałdzini, i wybicie piłki poza boisko. Na pewno nie jest to futbol widowiskowy, efektowny, pełen płynnych, dynamicznych, szybkich akcji, ale tak się gra w eliminacjach Mistrzostw Europy, Mistrzostw Świata. Drużyna chce przegrać jak najmniejszym stosunkiem, a oto teraz wspaniały strzał z prawej strony głową Włodzimierza Smolarka i oto w 23 minucie Polska obejmuje prowadzenie. Czyżby miała się powtórzyć historia z Zabrza? Zaczął Smolarek, tam popis strzelecki polskiego zespołu i teraz także on zdobywa pierwszą bramkę. Kozłem odbiła się piłka od murawy boiska, co utrudniło interwencję bramkarzowi. Piłkarze albańscy rozgrywają mecze o mistrzostwo swego kraju systemem jesień-wiosna. A więc podobnie jak u nas w pierwszej lidze, jak podaje katowicka Trybuna Robotnicza w specjalnym wydaniu materiałów z Albanii. Pierwsza liga liczy 14 zespołów, w drugiej lidze jest także 14 zespołów, w trzeciej 19 drużyn, ale w sumie w tym ponad 3-milionowym państwie gra ponad 4000 zawodników, z tym, że oprócz tych zespołów ligowych, uwaga, Boniek i Musta, jeszcze dobitka, strzał i jeszcze raz bramkarz albański Perlat Musta. Minga. I proszę Państwa, niestety błąd naszych obrońców. Śmiałe wejście z lewej strony boiska Albańczyków. I rezultat pojedynku 1-1. Zresztą strzał w bardzo trudnej pozycji. Udem, czy nawet piętą tutaj podbił piłkę do góry Boniek. Pałasz mocno wypuścił sobie piłkę. Rozpoczyna się ostatni kwadrans tego pojedynku. Mucza. No, proszę Państwa, wróciliśmy z dalekiej podróży, ale oto sensacja. Bo Josa wpisuje się na listę strzelców i Albania prowadzi z Polską 2-1. Dziuba i Minga. Smolarek. Komornicki w pojedynku z Targajem. Aut dla zespołu polskiego. Rzut wolny. Coś nieprawdopodobnego. I w końcu jednak druga bramka dla zespołu polskiego. A zdobywcą tej drugiej bramki był Andrzej Pałasz. Teraz za chwilę Państwo zobaczą tę akcję. Najpierw strzał głową z najbliższej odległości, trafia w nogi bramkarza i jest poprawka Pałasza.
Qui siamo a Mielec in Polonia, dove l'Albania ha costretto i polacchi a un sorprendente pareggio interno, 2-2. Erano andati in vantaggio i polacchi con il gol che stiamo rivedendo, segnato da Smolarek di testa nel primo tempo. Ma nella ripresa c'era il pareggio da parte dei giocatori albanesi, mentre i polacchi con Boniek, l'abbiamo visto, avevano sfiorato il raddoppio. Il pareggio avviene per merito di Minga. Anche questo gol è stato segnato su azione di testa. E poi sempre su azione di testa vanno in vantaggio i giocatori dell'Albania con Kola. Ecco l'azione del raddoppio degli albanesi, la loro gioia, il loro entusiasmo. Solo a 10 minuti dalla fine la squadra di Boniek, che aveva già battuto la Grecia, che insieme al Belgio fa parte dello stesso gruppo, ha pareggiato con questa mischia risolta da Pałasz. Facile invece il successo della Cecoslovacchia su Malta per 4-0 grazie a una doppietta di Janenka e a un gol di Jarolim e un rigore trasformato da Berger. Per i maltesi si tratta del secondo 0-4 in 2 partite, mentre per la Cecoslovacchia è stato il primo successo dopo la sconfitta che aveva subito in Portogallo nella partita di apertura. Il gruppo 2 delle qualificazioni per i mondiali di Città del Messico è guidato proprio dal Portogallo a punteggio pieno, ma la situazione è assai incerta perché anche Svezia e Germania Occidentale fanno parte di questo girone che promuoverà per i mondiali del Messico 2 squadre. Stiamo ancora seguendo le azioni, alcune azioni dei gol, vediamo soltanto 3 dei 4 gol segnati dai giocatori della Cecoslovacchia. L'ultimo gol cecoslovacco è stato segnato su questo calcio di rigore da Berger. Ecco il gol del 4-0.
Told Peter Shilton and company how generously the Turks gave him Finland's second goal in that 2-1 victory. It's a win that puts Finland in good heart for their visit to Belfast next week, bearing in mind they've already beaten Northern Ireland thanks to this goal by Ari Valve in the opening match in Group 3 last May. That got Billy Bingham's team off to a bad start, but they showed against Romania in September they're an entirely different proposition at Windsor Park. Martin O'Neill's sparkling goal, the highlight of a 3-2 victory, the Northern Ireland team ought to emulate on Wednesday. But the Republic of Ireland are outsiders in Group 6 after this defeat in Norway, and their abject away record doesn't bode well for a trip to Denmark.
In the referee's insistence that the Italians' defensive wall be at least 10 yards from the offence. It enabled Breghi to measure his curling dipping shot to perfection.
It'll be Dalglish with the corner. There's McLeish at the near post. Battling for position. O'Connor away from the goal. And it's Johnson. Johnson has scored. And here's Beck. Did well to ride a tackle from Toby. Johnston! Oh, yes. Boris Johnson's second of the game. Vio fouled. And it'll be Camacho with the free kick. Seda and Couture, the 2 central defenders, both come forward. Called it well. Oh, Leighton's lost it. And it's gone in from Couture. Here's Dalglish. Still Dalglish.
Dalla vittoria della Danimarca sull'Eire di Liam Brady per 3-0, il primo gol è di Elkjær Larsen, eccolo. Anche il secondo gol è del veronese servito dal laziale Laudrup, c'era nella formazione anche il pisano Berggren. Il terzo gol è di Lerby, azione personale, bel diagonale di Soren Lerby. Con l'eccellente regia di Herbert Prohaska, l'Austria ha battuto l'Olanda senza Kieft. Un tiro cross di Jara è deviato in autogol da Valke, 1-0. Importante successo della Svezia in Portogallo 3-1, in vantaggio i portoghesi con questo gol di Jordao, pareggio sul rigore di Pritz, poi Jordao si fa parare da Ravelli un altro rigore e invece dalla parte opposta Pritz segna ancora su punizione e la Svezia infligge la prima sconfitta ai portoghesi riscattando la sconfitta interna con un terzo gol di Nilsson su clamoroso errore di disimpegno, stiamo vedendo un rinvio sbagliato, Nilsson ne approfitta, conquista la palla e ancora in diagonale segna il 3-1. Seconda vittoria della Scozia di Souness sulla Spagna per 3-1, gol di Johnston, eccolo, e ancora Johnston sempre di testa realizza il secondo gol. Poi accorcia le distanze per la Spagna Goicoechea, ma infine Dalglish segna una splendida rete su azione personale, anche questa, fissando il punteggio sul 3-1.
Portogallo, rivelazione agli europei e squadra imbattuta del secondo girone, si è fatto superare per 3-1 in casa dalla Svezia, con la quale aveva vinto in trasferta per 1-0. È sicuramente questo il risultato più a sorpresa del mercoledì internazionale. Per il resto c'è da evidenziare l'8-0 con il quale l'Inghilterra di Robson ha battuto ad Istanbul la Turchia e il 3-0 che ha permesso alla Danimarca di bistrattare l'Irlanda di Brady. Nella partita di Copenaghen, Laudrup ed Elkjær in grande evidenza, l'attaccante del Verona ha segnato una magnifica doppietta. Squadre britanniche alla ribalta, Souness ha guidato la Scozia nel vittorioso confronto per 3-1 contro la Spagna, 2 gol di Johnston e terza rete di Dalglish. L'unica rete spagnola è stata messa a segno dal difensore Goicoechea, il nemico numero 1 di Maradona. Il Galles ha vinto 2-1 sull'Islanda, riscattando così la sconfitta subita all'andata a Reykjavik. Rush è questa volta rimasto all'asciutto, le reti gallese di Thomas e di Hughes. Grazie a questa autorete di Folk, l'Austria ha battuto l'Olanda e ora può sperare di raggiungere l'Ungheria in testa al quinto girone. Rivediamo questa rete che ha dato la vittoria alla squadra di Prohaska.
A vincere, ma Cipro in effetti ha resistito abbastanza bene, addirittura è passato in vantaggio. Vediamo come.
Cipro è un campo molto difficile.
Difficile anche proprio brutto come campo, infatti
sì,
forse il pallone tradisce un po' il portiere perché il campo non è perfettamente curato. Anche forse è difficile curarlo.
C'è il fotografo che segue il giocatore perché può darsi che a Cipro non fanno tanti gol. Allora vuole immortalizzare questo fatto.
Comunque velocissimo Fotis a raccogliere il pallone.
Il portiere sbaglia più che le altre.
Sì. E quando sbaglia si vede inevitabilmente.
Dopo arriviamo al secondo tempo e subito il pareggio con Roth
che ha cominciato l'azione e poi la va a concludere, un triangolo abbastanza bello. Poi rivediamo nella parte conclusiva. Lui ha lanciato il pallone sulla sinistra, lui stesso va a raccogliere questo appoggio di testa.
Sì, il difensore sbaglia.
Non riesce a...
E pareggia. Mi sembra che sono contenti perché perdere 1-0 in Cipro non è che un grosso risultato.
E addirittura a 3 minuti dalla fine con una vecchia volpe come Nilasi, esperto di tutte le aree di rigore, ecco, approfitta della minima occasione, Nilasi riesce a segnare. E inciampa e cade anche, rischia di farsi male.
Sì. Sono contento come se avesse, perché è andata male la partita, 1-0 per loro e dopo fare gol a 3 minuti alla fine.
Tra l'altro l'Ungheria è ben messa in questo girone, ha vinto 3 partite su 3 ed è davanti all'Austria che ha battuto già, quindi un risultato importante. Ed eccoci al 5-0, questo ti riguarda un po' più direttamente, tra Lussemburgo e Germania Est.
Sì.
Tutto nel secondo tempo, abbiamo visto il primo gol di Ernst, poi qualche reazione dei lussemburghesi che tutto sommato non hanno giocato.
No, le notizie dicevano che potevano
addirittura
vincere 2-0 al primo tempo, dopo il secondo tempo hanno calato fisicamente.
E qui c'è il gol di Minghe, ma c'è stata probabilmente una deviazione di un difensore, anche se la palla probabilmente sarebbe andata in rete lo stesso. Voi avete vinto 4-0.
4-0, loro hanno fatto 5-0. Noi abbiamo fatto 4 gol al primo tempo, loro 5
gol nella ripresa. Questo è un bel gol di testa, siamo al 3-0, ancora Ernst e Minghe si sono divisi i gol. Uno della Dinamo di Berlino, l'altro della Dinamo di Dresda. Ecco un'occasione anche per...
Sì. No, Lussemburgo ha giocato molto bene, poteva sperare qualcosa di meglio. Piccolo campo, dopo fanno sempre gol sulle cross. Noi non possiamo dire che fanno tante giocate come noi le abbiamo fatto contro Lussemburgo, ma è sempre
è ancora un gol di testa.
Sì.
Sfruttano anche la loro predisposizione i giocatori piuttosto alti, sia Ernst che Minghe.
Poca gente al stadio, mi sembra che Lussemburgo sono un po' deluso. Bello gol. Ha toccato il portiere. 5-0.
Ernst. E invece
la Germania aveva perso in casa con la Jugoslavia. Dunque non è che noi giochiamo
ed ecco qualche immagine di Francia-Bulgaria. Un risultato importante, questa è una parata Mikhailov su Stopirà, un risultato importante perché escluso il Lussemburgo delle altre 4 squadre siete i primi che riuscite a vincere una partita in casa.
Sì, giusto, e noi dobbiamo vincere questa partita e la possibilità prossima. È il GC nazionale. Noi dobbiamo prendere 2 punti ancora contro la Germania e saremo a posto.
Comunque dicevamo prima una partita più difficile di quello che forse non si potesse pensare, forse se l'aveste bloccata
un po' di gol.
C'è questo intervento, questo fallo di mano, volontario o involontario, Michel, così a rivederlo adesso.
Intanto ha impedito di Touré di arrivare sul pallone prima del difensore.
Che fa? Hai baciato il pallone, Michel? O così?
Era importante, volevo lasciare calciare un altro giocatore, ma nessuno è venuto, dunque ho calciato io.
Ed è il primo rigore che segni...
Al Parco dei Principi in partita ufficiale.
Ho capito. Poi dopo questo momento forse voi siete un po' calati, prima non eravate riusciti a fare gol, ma
non è che abbiamo calato, ma non abbiamo più attaccati come primo, ci siamo messi un po' davanti alla porta
e sono venuti fuori loro, qui è stato bravo anche Bazzi.
È stato bravo Bazzi, salva sempre la partita.
Questo è Tussaud che è entrato?
Sì, qua rimane, ho visto l'arbitro che diceva che rimaneva 30 secondi, dunque...
Passo avanti, vincendo ieri sera a Parigi al Parco dei Principi contro la Bulgaria per 1-0. La formazione transalpina guidata da Michel Platini si è ripresentata sul terreno che l'aveva vista trionfare nel campionato d'Europa la scorsa estate. Ed è stato proprio lo juventino a siglare l'unico gol che ha dato la vittoria alla Francia al termine di una partita poco brillante sotto il profilo tecnico, ma comunque piuttosto combattuta. Nel primo tempo i francesi non sono riusciti a creare occasioni pericolose, dovendosi preoccupare delle veloci manovre dei bulgari. La rete del successo è venuta al 18° della ripresa, con un calcio di rigore concesso per un fallo di mano in area del difensore bulgaro Markov. Lo rivediamo al rallenti. Questo fallo di mano, eccolo, e quindi la trasformazione di Platini, puntuale subito dopo. La Francia, grazie a questa vittoria, guida il gruppo 4 davanti a Jugoslavia e Germania Est.
Ordered here for handball against Arabov to give France a narrow victory over a resolute Bulgaria. Inevitably, Michel Platini found the back of the net from the spot, the goal after 62 minutes. But France were grateful to their goalkeeper Joel Batz for protecting that lead. This tremendous save making sure that France held on to two important World Cup points. John in Valletta and Busuttil giving
Schumacher. That was after 11 minutes. And the Tecali Stadium, which incidentally has a grass pitch rather than the sand we've come to expect in Malta, erupted. It wasn't until 2 minutes before the interval that West Germany equalised, a header by Karl-Heinz Förster, which the Maltese keeper Mifsud should have swallowed. The looks from his defenders after that error really say it all, don't they? Anyway, that made it 1-1, and after 69 minutes, West Germany went ahead. The goal is made by Voller, beating his man and crossing beautifully to Klaus Allof's head. 2-1, and it was to be Allofs who sealed victory for West Germany 5 minutes from the end. This time the trickery is by Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, and when his chip is headed against the bar by Rahn, it's Allofs who's on the spot to complete the job. 3-1 to West Germany, and although the flags came out in celebration, there was still a shock in store for Franz Beckenbauer's team, because in the 87th minute, Malta scored a second. Look for Briegel's headed clearance falling nicely into the path of Zerad, whose first-time shot creeps just inside the post. The Malta players' reaction showed they thought an equaliser was on, but it wasn't to be. The final...
De Oostenrijker Fahler fluit af. Of fluit de wedstrijd op gang. Ronquin. Verkouteren. De Grote. Nico Klaassen nu bij de bal. Jan Kullemans bal. Eerste schot. Ja, die doelman daar in de fout. Wordt dat nog een doelpunt voor Klaassen. Een eerste kans al gevaar. Door een flater van doelman Sarganis. Ja, dat is mooi wat Groen daar doet. Tegenactie met Nico Klaassen, die kan doorgaan. Bal vrij ver van de voet. En dan Sarganis, nu wel klem vast. Maar een uitstekende Nico Klaassen weer. Van Vakulas. Bij Keulemans. Groen is er nu. Ja, en nu Keulemans weer. Schifo, Belgen laten zich niet wegzetten. Schifo, geen buitenspel. Nee, Schifo, dat moet een doelpunt worden. Enzo Schifo. Oh! Prachtig wat de doelman daar doet, Sarganis. Al kan je natuurlijk ook het zo uitleggen dat Schifo te lang wachtte. We gaan nog eens kijken. Duidelijk geen buitenspel. Schifo. Ruimte genoeg. Wacht. Sarganis gaat komen. Wat gebeurt hier? En die gooit zich voor de voet en de bal. Gemist door Schifo. Het doet denken aan de kant van Van den Berg in Frankrijk.
The bribe scandal defenders failed to clear and Joza found the net. The reaction of the 25,000 crowd gives an idea of the popularity of the game in Albania at the moment. And the scenes were repeated 3 minutes from the end. That's when Albania put together a skillful little move. Look in particular for the first-time pass that puts Minga clear. And if you're half expecting him to pass inside to the supporting fella, forget it. A low drive beats Faf comprehensively. Albania 2, Belgium 0.
Poor defending by Spain. Kymäläinen, Finland's captain, setting up a simple goal for Mika Lipponen. It took Spain another 15 minutes to equalise. Ricardo Gallego's through pass putting Ippolito Rincon clear to lift the ball past Olli Huutonen. Spain went in front on the half hour through a penalty. Emilio Butragueño brought down. And Butragueño, Real Madrid's exciting young forward, taking the kick and scoring with ease. Rojo from Terry Venables' Barcelona set up Spain's final goal. Butragueño again on target to make it 3-1. But Hungary have been transformed by coach George Meze. And left-back Zoltan Péter scored the game's only goal 75 seconds into the second half. What a soft one too, conceded by Harald Schumacher.
World champions Italy drew a packed house to Dalymount Park. Fans were literally hanging from the rooftops. But the occasion turned sour on Liverpool's Mark Lawrenson. After only 5 minutes, he was adjudged to have fouled Alessandro Altobelli inside the penalty area. Just the start the Italians were looking for in a match they took seriously enough to field 7 of their World Cup winning team. One of them, Paolo Rossi, beat Pat Bonner from the penalty spot, doing a better job there than teammate Cabrini had done in the World Cup final. With Lawrenson off with a dislocated shoulder and Paul McGrath on, the Republic fell further behind to a classic Italian move. Bruno Conti supplied the pass after making the interception, and Altobelli, playing against his inter-club mate Liam Brady, ran on to finish in a style befitting a man who has scored in the World Cup final itself. 2 down at half-time, it was to the Republic's credit that they replied after 58 minutes with a fine strike by Gary Waddock. Defeat was no disgrace. They'd lost Tony Galvin with a hamstring injury as worrying for Spurs as Lawrenson's shoulder...
Tentative ball through for Jim Benn. Now can Scotland find a goal here? Douglas. Southall's got it. Rush with the header on. Hughes is almost in. James. Ross. Goal from a master craftsman.
Though the penalty taken by Pierre Littbarski was one of 2 missed by the Germans in the match. But this time, in the aftermath, Felix Magath finally forces the ball in. Three minutes later, and the 1982 World Cup finalists got a third, and it was Rane again with a diving header at the near post. And already a vastly different story from the meeting in Malta, where West Germany scraped home 3-2. And Littbarski made up for his penalty failure by driving in the 4th. West Germany should have doubled that total by half-time, but they needed the sure touch of Karl-Heinz Rummenigge to make it 5. The misses continued in the second half, with the only score Rummenigge's 43rd international goal, and Malta very lucky indeed to escape with only a 6-0 defeat. In Brussels, a typically well-struck free kick from Belgium's Frankie Verkouteren set up a victory over Greece that Belgium badly needed in Group 1. But the Belgians couldn't relax until 4 minutes from the end. Enzo Schifo, their teenage prodigy, looping his shot over goalkeeper Sarganis. And Belgium celebrating their return.
Van der Eyck voortdurend tussen 2 tegenstanders. Mitropoulos. Kijk hoe gemakkelijk de Grieken het hebben op middenveld. Rustig kijken. Geen buitenspel, Wernie. En dat zou de uitsluiting moeten zijn voor Pap. Gelukkig is dat maar geel. Die buitenspeltactiek is gewoon desastreus. De Wolf tegen Anastopoulos. Antonio en weer geen buitenspel. Saravakos. En die lapt hem erin. Nee. Ach mensen toch. De voetbalgoden zijn met ons. Plessers. Van der Eyck in een goede voorzet zou voldoende zijn natuurlijk. Keulmans voor Dekkers, dubbelpas, Verkouteren. En Sarganis, die geweldig uitkomt alweer, verijdelt de beste Belgische kans in de tweede helft. De Wolf, Keulemans. Ja, ondanks de kille temperatuur geraken de gemoederen nu toch meer en meer verhit. We zijn bijna 25 minuten ver. Een vrije trap. Verkouteren en ergens erin. Dat kan hij dan toch nog, Frankie. Op het beslissende moment. De beslissende fase afronden. 25 minuten gespeeld. Een van zijn kromme ballen rond de muur. Sarganis voor 1 keer verrast, bijna aan de bal. En ja, we mogen het zeggen, een geblijde 1-0 voorsprong. Voordekkers, Keulemans, Chico, maakt hij het goed nu? Ja! Hij maakt het goed. Enzo Chico kreeg ook zo'n enorme kans in Athene. Jawel. De schrik is weg. Op 1 minuut van het einde. Enzo Schifo. Een beetje uit conditie. Wat gebrek aan vertrouwen. Maar deze keer grote klasse. Een stekertje. En helemaal op de valreep. 2-0.
The kick. 6 in the wall. And 6 wasn't enough. Hadji has scored for Romania after 22 minutes. Turkey have made 7 changes since they lost 8-0 to England back in November. Goalkeeper being one of them. Arif recalled. Oh, but what's he done there? What has he done? And he has presented the second goal to Kamataru. After 28 minutes, and there won't be a more bizarre goal surely in the World Cup qualifiers than this. Arif making a terrible nonsense of his clearance, and Kamataru, the centre-forward, who they think will join Benfica next season, has a simple task. Well, 3 minutes left in the first half. This is Hadji for Romania. Hooks a good ball, and Kamataru's in again, and that's 3. His
with a thunderous free kick, but delighted a vociferous 80,000 crowd in Montevideo. Jorge Aravena equalised though for Chile less than 20 minutes later. Few goalkeepers in the world surely would have saved that one. It was a second half penalty too that decided the match. Venancio Ramos, who plays in the French league for Lens, taking Uruguay through to the finals for the first time.
1930 è stata anche la prima squadra a conquistare il diritto di partecipare al campionato del mondo, insieme ovviamente all'Italia, quale detentrice del titolo, e al Messico, paese ospitante. Ha battuto il Cile per 2-1 nel match decisivo. Abbiamo visto il gol con cui è passato in vantaggio con Batista su calcio di punizione. Al Cile, cui bastava il pareggio, ha avuto una reazione e è riuscita a ottenere questo gol del pareggio con un rigore di Aravena, che stiamo rivedendo. Ma nella ripresa per questo fallo su Francescoli arrivava il rigore trasformato da Venancio Ramos, che riportava dopo 2 edizioni fallite l'Uruguay.
Waiters. In Africa. So to Asia, where again World Cup fever spreads far and wide. But a goal has the same galvanizing effect no matter where the country, no matter what the culture. It's unwise now to chuckle at the likes of Hong Kong.
Van Rijken. Groen weer weg. Bijzonder offensief. Grootaert. Maar slordig, Keulemans. Van den Berg, Verkouteren. Van den Berg, ja! Een klassiek doelpunt, we spelen precies een half uur. Grote vreugde en een belangrijk doelpunt. Dus van den Berg naar Verkouteren. Van Verkouteren naar Van den Berg. En 1-0. Geweldige inzet. Plestes. Chiffon, Gruun moet dat worden. George Gruun, Chiffon. Van Rijken. Poging om Verkouteren te bereiken. Dat gebeurt. Verkouteren. En die zet erin. Hier krijgen we het. Zeer ver, die pas. Al blijft hij lang onderweg. In de werkelijkheid ging dat veel sneller. Dan kopduel. Bal blijft hangen, valt gunstig voor ons. Verkouteren pikt hij mee. En dan de gouden schoen daar. Kijk. En 2-0. De dag van Frankie Verkouteren hier.
Ostrowski. Jałocha. Dziekanowski. Andrzej Buncol, z lewej strony Smolarek. Darek Dziekanowski, dobrze, ma kilka metrów swobody. Dobre zagranie do wychodzącego tam Pawlaka, ofensywne wejście Pawlaka. Pawlak dojdzie, dochodzi, dośrodkowanie i tutaj w ostatniej chwili głowy Polarka piłkę zdejmuje Van der Elst. Ale ładna akcja Polaków w pierwszej części, w 9 minucie meczu. Frankie Van der Elst. Van der Eycken. Do Kulemansa, groźnie. Brawo Józef Młynarczyk, ale jeszcze nie koniec. Dobrze, teraz odepchnęliśmy z ulgą. Pierwsza bardzo niebezpieczna akcja drużyny belgijskiej. Prostopadłe podanie do Kulemansa, którego mają Państwo na swoich monitorach. Raz jeszcze ta akcja. Tymczasem brawo Młynarczyk, powtarzał nam realizator, proszę Państwa. Sytuację sprzed Chiliany wiele brakowało, by piłka ugrzęzła w siatce, tylko rzut rożny. Oto Kulemans po raz drugi złożył się do strzału, nie widzieli tego Państwo, może to nawet i lepiej. Zaoszczędziliście trochę nerwów, poprzeczka po strzale gry na moment dekoncentracji. Kulemans niepilnowany, Van den Berg, świetnie oddał piłkę do Verkouterena, groźnie Verkouteren, Van den Berg i gol! Moment nieuwagi, tylko moment, proszę Państwa, nieuwagi. 29 minuta. Znakomite, wręcz na pamięć zagrane Van den Berg i Verkouteren. Czy można się dziwić? Grają przecież w jednym klubie. Boniek. Trójka przeciwko czwórce Belgów. Idzie w sukurs Buncol. Boniek, dobre wypuszczenie Buncola przed kalcą. Buncol no strzela, jaj! Szkoda, jaka szkoda, proszę Państwa. Szkoda, że Andrzej Buncol no nie wypuścił mocniej tej piłki obok Munarona, abyśmy byli tacy szczęśliwi. Schifo. No, Belgowie. Myślenie nie jest im obojętne. Widzieli, co się dzieje. Widzieli, że Polacy tutaj kilkakrotnie ruszyli. Bardziej zdecydowanie. A więc już nie ma tego ustawienia w obronie. Groźnie Verkouteren. I proszę Państwa, 2-0. No, mina Młynarczyka mówi sama za siebie. Zbędne są moje jakiekolwiek słowa. Piąty gol w reprezentacji zawodnika, który był współautorem pierwszej bramki. Błąd teraz Belgów. Zobaczymy, czy nasi potrafią go wykorzystać. Boniek. I no! Po raz trzeci w tej drugiej części spotkania Polacy przed szansą. Mocno złożył się Zbigniew Boniek, dając próbkę przecież tych możliwości, na które czekamy, które ma, które wierzyliśmy, że pokaże. Popatrzmy raz jeszcze. Jak zaczarowana wolno toczyła się ta piłka. W ostatniej chwili jednak muśnięta przez Munarona wyszła poza bramę. Polacy. Komornicki. Dobre przejście Komornickiego. Smolarek! Munaron.
Long ball again. He's looking for Hughes. Lefebvre, and there's a chance of a Welsh goal, and it's in. Surely. Thank you very much, said Ian Rush. Nicholas is going to take it. James making a near post run. And maybe a chance here. Brilliant! What a goal! It was Hughes. Who else would get a goal like that? The wind holding that ball up. Mark Hughes. She's onside. Maybe this is the third. It is. It is. 3-0 to Wales. What
a that the 45 minutes are indeed up. McClelland looking for Whiteside. Yes, Whiteside scores. 45 minutes up on the watch as Norman Whiteside scores his 5th goal for Northern Ireland. Whiteside, Quinn. Quinn's done well. Brotherstone's arriving. Jimmy Nichols kept this in. It's Whiteside. Whiteside gets his 2nd of the evening.
You know, show people that wasn't a flash in the pan and that we were able to capitalise there on a mistake made. And you don't make mistakes like that when that gentleman's around.
When Mr. Ian Rush is around.
That's right, certainly.
The second goal, of course, was somewhat different, shall we call it?
I think this was undoubtedly one of the best goals that anyone could wish to see. And that's just a little bit of genius from Mark Hughes. And when the player's able to score goals of that calibre, then he puts the fear up defenders, and it was just an incredible goal.
And this one, of course, Mike, really shows
the sharpness of Ian Rush.
The pace
there we
of
go.
him, yeah.
He's there, and he makes it look so easy, and that's the hallmark of a man that's got class, and that's what Ian Rush certainly has.
Those were the 3 goals we put up.
When little Pierre Litbarski of Cologne unleashed this thunderbolt for goal number 2. Manager Franz Beckenbauer said his team's victory was perfect, and their dominance produced 4 goals before half-time. This one volleyed into the net by Lothar Matthäus. And West Germany's progression to Mexico from Group 6 is a formality. In Rotterdam, Holland in the dark strip met Austria in a match to decide who'll be the runners-up to Hungary in Group 5. And it was against the run of play that the Dutch opened the scoring through their Italian-based player Kieft after 55 minutes. The runners-up in Group 5 and 1 play off for a place in Mexico. And Austria became favourites for that second chance when Walter Schachner, who also plays in Italy with Torino, scored the equaliser 5 minutes later. Austria and Holland now have the same points, but Austria's last match is home to Cyprus, while Holland are away to Hungary. In Group 1, Belgium in the dark strip are favourites to qualify after beating Poland 2-0 in Brussels. But they've yet to play in Poland, and it could change. Some familiar names were involved in the goals. Van den Berg exchanging passes with Vercauteren to score after 30 minutes. And then in the second half, a most unusual goal. From a massive kick by Van der Eycken, the ball is controlled well by Vercauteren, who makes the goal look easy from a very acute angle.
Russia may have started slowly in their group, but recorded their first win with a 4-0 romp against Switzerland. Just before half-time, with Russia leading 2-0, Georgiy Kondratiev, who nearly didn't play at all, scored his first after a bad goalkeeping mistake by Karl Engel. And then, right on half-time, there was a touch of comedy about his second goal, with a rebound off Engel's foot, a simple header, and a real hope for Russia in Group 6. In Group 4, Yugoslavia are top now after their 1-0 victory over Luxembourg, but they had to wait until 2 minutes from time when Vokri scored to get the vital points. But there was a shock for France with their first defeat for 18 months at the hands of Bulgaria. The action may be slow motion, but Bulgaria's performance was action-packed. Dimitrov scored the first after a goalkeeping error by Joel Bats gave him the chance. The second goal came on 62 minutes when Nasko Sirakov scored with a near-post header. It's a result that sent France tumbling from first to third in the group and puts them under some pressure.
In Prague, this cross from Pierre Litbarski set up their young defender Tomasz Berthold for the opening goal after only 8 minutes. Halfway through the first half, Litbarski himself scored the second. A determined run and then a magnificent strike from the West German winger. It was fullback Berthold, a relative newcomer to the international side, who laid on the third goal, a perfect cross for Matus. 2 minutes from half-time, it was 4-0. The sweeper Hergé curling his free kick delightfully around the wall. The Czechs were clearly outplayed and went further behind 7 minutes from the end. Voller's shot rebounding into the path of Klaus Olofs. And although the Czechs managed a consolation goal deflected by Griga past Schumacher, nothing could spoil a highly satisfying night for West Germany, who've taken maximum points from their 5 matches.
In Moscow, Oleg Protasov, who scored against England at Wembley last year, setting the mood after 18 minutes. Switzerland were then thrust aside by 3 goals in the last 6 minutes of the half to the delight of a 90,000 crowd. Protasov on target again, though the Swiss had plenty of justification in their appeals for offside. But the blame for the third goal for the Soviet Union must be laid squarely on the shoulders of Switzerland's goalkeeper Karl Engel. Georgi Kondratiev from Dynamo Minsk taking full advantage of the mishandling. The Swiss reeling now, completely losing their defensive discipline, immediately conceding another goal. Kondratiev getting the final touch again. 4-0 at half-time, 4-0 the final score.
Against Cyprus from a free kick pulled back to the Rapid Vienna player Hrstić, who celebrated his second international with that thunderous long-range goal. The Austrians needed to win to go second in the group and thus have a chance of qualifying for a playoff place in Mexico. And their second goal, 10 minutes before half-time, came from another fierce shot. This time, Polster was the scorer. In the second half, Austria doubled their score. From another free kick, it's finally the Torino player, Walter Schachner, who heads a fine goal. Austria must wait and see if Holland can beat Hungary next week to deny them that runners-up place. Their qualifying matches were completed when Bielefeld made it 4-0 after 71 minutes. In South America, Brazil met Argentina in a friendly international that proved anything but. Ecstatic commentary for Brazil's opening goal by Careca was somewhat muted, though, when Burruchaga equalised for Argentina half an hour later. Brazil's new team secured the third win in their warm-up games before the start of the qualifying matches when Alameo scored early in the second half. Other aspects of the match, though, were not so joyous. The tackling was fierce and eventually led to a free-for-all in which you needed eyes in the back of the head and the fists of a Barry McGuigan just to survive. The local gendarmerie intervened to such an extent that eventually they outnumbered the players. And finally, 2 Brazilians and an Argentinian were sent off. Keith Birkinshaw, the ex-Spurs boss, now manager of Bahrain, was at a game that proves football at least is universal, as his team played South Yemen in the World Cup qualifying match that ended 3-3. This was the pick of the 6 goals. Not everyone was pleased with the result, but the scoreboard said it all. Algeria beat Angola 3-2 in their qualifying match, which raised an old question. Do you praise strikers or criticise the goalkeeper? In the Asian qualifying, Iraq beat Qatar 2-1, but their game didn't end at the whistle.
From referee George Courtney indicating the termination of the 90 minutes battle between Iraq and Qatar, and tremendous jubilation in the Iraq camp. So a pulsating drama here coming to an end. And right now, a very unfortunate incident. A free-for-all there between the 2 sides. Players going for each other after the match.
And that crazy football is also sadly worldwide. This was an Asian Club Cup tie contested in Hong Kong, but it was more like martial arts than football.
Dostrzegł tam z lewej strony Urbana, wrzucenie Urbana, dobre, tutaj wystawienie do Bońka, Bolik przed szansą, mocne uderzenie, Smolarek, wystawienie do Wójcickiego, ach jaka szkoda, ale jeszcze nie koniec. Urban gorąco teraz pod bramką drużyny greckiej. Szkoda, proszę Państwa, zobaczymy po powtórce, że Polacy tego nie wykorzystali. No, byłoby już zupełnie inaczej. 13 minuta nie okazała się dla nas zbyt szczęśliwa. Polacy, Smolarek, z przodu Zbigniew Boniek, dwójkowa akcja polskiego zespołu, Smolarek, 2 na 1, Smolarek ma tam Bońka, idzie samotnie Smolarek, chyba będzie bramka, Smolarek, gdzie jest Boniek, Smolarek i gol! No wreszcie! Proszę Państwa, Ilu Smolarka, bramka. Nic dodać, nic ująć, do końca olbrzymie napięcie nerwowe na komentarz. Chyba najlepszy w wykonaniu trenera Antoniego Piechniczka. Popatrzmy raz jeszcze. 3 zawodników greckich przeszkadzała mu tutaj. To jest Mitsibones, który raz podcinał Polaka. Idzie uparcie Smolarek do końca z konsekwencją. Raz jeszcze wchodzi Kyrastas. We dwóch próbują. Jak taran się tam przedziera. Idzie na pole karne. Ma z prawej strony Bońka. I tutaj ze stoickim spokojem. Aż nam zamarły serca na moment. I wielka radość. Myślę, że nie tylko tutaj na tym olimpijskim stadionie. Bunsol. Urban, który po raz 6 w narodowej reprezentacji debiutował w tym roku podczas meksykańskiego tournée. Grecy, Smolarek cały czas, co jest niepokojące, utyka. Tymczasem Krośnie, brawo Młynarczyk, ale jej stało się, proszę Państwa, błąd i wyrównująca bramka Anastopulosa w pierwszej minucie drugiej części spotkania, a więc w 46 minucie meczu. Urban decyduje się na samotny przebój. Urban popychany tam przez Antonio, utrzymuje się przy piłce i podcinany teraz. No myślę, że powinna być żółta kartka dla Antonio. Sędzia jakoś bardziej pobłażliwszy dla gospodarzy. Rzut wolny dla polskiej drużyny. Boniek, dobre wycofanie do Ostrowskiego, Ostrowski ma potężne uderzenie, cudowne! O takim marzyliśmy, proszę Państwa, 13 minuta drugiej połowy, jakże dla nas szczęśliwa. No mówiłem przed chwilą, że mogliby Polacy skopiować bez przerywania gwizdka, tym razem cudowne rozegranie Bońka z Ostrowskim i Marek Ostrowski, 25-letni zawodnik w swoim 14 występie, pakuje piłkę obok bezradnego Sarganisa w bramkę. No wreszcie skuteczny, ładny strzał z daleka polskiego zespołu. Wracają szybko Polacy. Dobre przechwycenie przez Matysika teraz piłki. Boniek ze Smolarkiem przeciwko 4 Grekom. Co zrobi Boniek? Ma tutaj z lewej strony Matysiko ostry kąt i co? Ach, jakże złapał to Sarganis, wyciągając się jak struna.
Dobra, słuszna decyzja Waldemara Matysika, który jeszcze nigdy nie zdobył w barwach reprezentacji narodowej bramki, tymczasem Grecy, ale teraz powstrzymuje ich Pawlak i znowu szarża naszej drużyny. Boniek, idzie Pawlak tam w sukurs, zmęczeni już Polacy, dobre oddanie do Pawlaka, Pawlak przez szansą na trzecią bramkę do Bońka i co i 3, tak, jest to nokautujące uderzenie. Boniek i jego 23 gol w 69. występie, po raz pierwszy jako kapitan. No proszę Państwa, możemy być już teraz spokojni, bez względu na czas, który pozostał do zakończenia tego pojedynku. 3-1, kopia wyniku z Zabrza, podniesione w geście triumfu ręce nie tylko naszego selekcjonera, ale również Józefa Młynarczyka. Radują się nasze serca, patrząc jak grają dzisiaj Polacy. Ofensywne wejście zdecydowane Krzysztofa Pawlaka, przytomność umysłu w oddaniu piłki. Proszę tutaj popatrzeć, idzie Pawlak, asysta 3 zawodników greckich, oddanie do Bońka i Boniek nie miał tutaj problemów z umieszczeniem piłki w siatce.
Tak więc w rewanżu nasi pokonali Greków 4-1. W kolejnych meczach najpierw na wyjeździe wygrali z Albanią 1-0.
In Helsinki, the talented Romanian George Hagi opened the scoring with a spectacular shot after just 8 minutes. But watch out for a quite remarkable equaliser from Mika Lipponen to grab a vital point for the Finns. It's a goal well worth seeing again, a superb opportunist effort from Lipponen. The final header on there is from Kaimalainen, and how about this for a cheeky finish? England are still obvious favourites with 3 home games to come, but Northern Ireland now have a real chance of going through as runners-up, although they've still to visit both Romania and England. There's a tremendous battle going on in Group 4. Yugoslavia went top after this last-minute winner from Fadili Vokri in Luxembourg. But last Sunday, the Slavs suffered their first defeat of the tournament at the hands of Bulgaria, playing here in the light shirts. A 60,000 crowd in Sofia saw number 7 Getov snatch the winner for the home side, and Bulgaria now head the group. The top. This goal from Hristic saw the Austrians on their way to a 4-0 win over Cyprus in Graz, and the Austrian players clearly thought they'd done enough. It meant Holland had to beat Hungary in Budapest to retain any hope of competing in Mexico, but remarkably they did just that. The only goal from De Witt in the 68th minute reducing the capacity crowd to stunned silence and sending the Dutch team into raptures. So Austria go out and 3-0 win over Switzerland in Dublin last weekend, sending the Irish from bottom to top in surely the tightest group of all. But on Wednesday, Denmark regained the leadership after a 4-2 win over Russia in a match being acclaimed as the best of the tournament so far. That goal from Preben Elkjær gave the Danes an early 2-0 lead, but the Russians hit back just before half-time with a quite magnificent strike by Protasov. A superb effort, isn't it? And it looks even better from behind. However, in the second half, the Danes produced some sparkling football with Michael Laudrup leading the charge, here scoring his second and Denmark's fourth to clinch a thrilling victory. A marvellous match to delight a capacity Copenhagen crowd. Denmark are firm favourites to qualify. Argentina and Brazil have both got off to a winning start. This goal from Burruchaga secured a 3-1 win for the Argentinians against Colombia last weekend to make it 4 points out of 4. And on the same day, Brazil, with Tele Santana back in command, defeated Bolivia 2-0 in Group 3. Number 9, Casagrande, opening the scoring. However, the most remarkable events have taken place in the Asian section. China, playing here in white shirts, needed a draw against Hong Kong in Peking to get through the first stage. But this goal from Kukan 5 proved to be the winner, knocking China out of the World Cup. The final whistle brought scenes of jubilation for the Hong Kong team, but the Chinese supporters rioted in the streets afterwards, and the side has since been disbanded in shame. So, no China in Mexico, and from Smolarek for Poland, running over half the length of the field before scoring. Or how about this netbuster from the splendidly named Cheong Chitak for Hong Kong? And of course, there's Mark Hughes' spectacular scissors kick for Wales against Spain, surely the goal of the tournament so far, and one that could yet help to send both Wales and Scotland to Mexico next summer.
Nicholas is going to take it. James making a near post run. And maybe a chance here. Brilliant! What a goal! What a marvellous goal! It was Hughes. Who else would get a goal like that? That was something real.
This is Dixon. Hoddle. Lineker. What a fine goal. That's a superb piece of finishing by Gary Lineker of Leicester City. Hoddle taking over again. Gets it back from Bracewell. Glenn Hoddle in some space here. He's got Lineker and Dixon making forward runs, and Kerry Dixon manages to get to that in the end and turns it into the net with a typical piece of Dixon finishing. Just when the chance seemed to have gone, he retrieved the ball and squeezed it in. Brian Robson looking for Kerry Dixon. And Dixon getting round the back there, and Chris Waddle is coming in, and Lineker is there as well. That's far over the line. It's 3-0 for England. And Butcher tried to reach that, and here's Bracewell, miscued it rather. Is Dixon in there again? He is, and a mistake by the goalkeeper, and England score again. Butcher. Bracewell is well forward. It's been turned back for Trevor Stephen, and there's number 5. The unpredictable striker who first made his name in the European Cup all of 10 seasons ago. The goal showed typical Gallic improvisation, but what was predictable was that the exquisite through pass came from the prince of European football, Michel Platini, whose performance was again monitored by England boss Bobby Robson back in the Parc des Princes, where he saw Platini and France win the European Championship last year with football of a similar quality. The South American champions Uruguay in white rarely hit the same high standard, and they fell further behind early in the second half. This time it was Platini's able lieutenant in midfield, little Alain Giresse, who delivered a delicious pass to the man who'd started the move, number 11, José Touré. Again, the finish was as delicate as it was decisive and clinched a 2-0 victory for France, as well as the new intercontinental competition, a trophy to perpetuate the memory of Dr. Artemio Franchi, the former president of UEFA, who was killed in a car crash. There was time for Platini to display his wide range of skills, but time too for France to reflect that it won't be as easy in East Germany, where they play a vital World Cup match in September.
Keep alive their hopes of qualification, the boost of an early goal, and Bobby Robson well aware of the talent of the scorer, Hagi, who's been at the forefront of the Romanian bid to reach the Mexico World Cup finals. Finland's last hopes of salvaging a point disappeared when they conceded a second goal right at the start of the second half. Mateot from a tight angle, the ball goes in off the body of goalkeeper Huuhtanen, and Romania hitting just the right form to Paraguay. A free kick by Philip Priest, and Everton's Rob Wakenshaw making the most of the goalkeeper's fumble. The match played in Baku, in the deep south of the Soviet Union. And Priest, who's with Chelsea, increased the lead with a brave header from a cross by Nicky Wood of Manchester United. But then Dave Sexton's side fell away against skillful Paraguayan opposition, who pulled one goal back before half-time, Carterman heading past Reading's Derek Williams. Paraguay had much more of the play in the second half, and Williams stood no chance as they deservedly drew level. 14 minutes from time, Carterman this time the provider, the goal from a fierce shot by Sanchez. 2 days later, Dave Sexton's youngsters, now in white, showed the effects of that hard-fought draw when they were beaten by the Republic of China. Throughout, China showed excellent technique. They missed several chances before Goao Hongbo's shot took a deflection off Sunderland's David Corner, with 15 minutes left. And 2 minutes from the end, with England committed forward, Gong Lei ended a breakaway with a second goal for China. But if England struggled, the holders of the FIFA Coca-Cola Cup, Brazil, showed plenty of traditional flair against the Republic of Ireland, a side which included several youngsters from Football League clubs. But a defensive slip by the Irish allowed Balalo to run clear to make it 1-0. Tbilisi the setting for this match, and in the second half, when Brazil were being pressed defensively, they counter-attacked in typical fashion for an exciting goal from their left-back, Dida. But the best goal of the game belonged to the Republic of Ireland. West Ham's Eamon Dolan clear on the left, and Marcus Tuitt from Luton Town scores at the end of a splendid move that emphasised the quality of the football in the World Youth Championship. And just look what befell Canada here at the very start of their opening match against Nigeria. Just 12 seconds from the kickoff, the ball is in the back of the Canadian net. Monde Odiaka bursting clear to score. And Nigeria, recently the World Under-16 champions, off to a real flyer at Under-19 level.
And although it was a morale-boosting win for the Soviets before they meet Denmark in the return World Cup qualifier, it's clear from this replay that Schumacher was beaten only by a cruel deflection off his number 2, Thomas Berthold. Soviet Union 1, West Germany 0.
France might not grace next year's World Cup finals, but in Leipzig, East Germany just would not capitulate to the talents of the European champions. 8 minutes into the second half, the header from Rainer Ernst, handled by Luis Fernandez on the line, but the goal is given. Referee Pietro Delia from Italy, close to the line himself, ruling that Fernandez had not kept the ball out. And 7 minutes from time, East Germany scored again, leaving France needing to win their last 2 games at home to Luxembourg and Yugoslavia to qualify for Mexico. Ronald Crea's shot deflected past Joel Bats to delay.
Probably win it because, you know, they have a lot of very good, skillful players.
Yeah, they looked it. Actually, it was a bit of poor defending on the Spanish side, really.
Ranke, Keulemans. Ja, Blessers. De voordekkers, dat kan. Ja, eerste goede kans. Voor 1 keer niet Boniek. Juist een inspanning achter de rug. Ja, dat was Boniek. Blessers. Ja, zo is het. Gerrit. Gaat hij voorbij. Oh, lala. Wordt daar gepakt. Net voor het strafschopgebied. Hij viel er binnen, maar we moeten het zeggen zoals het is. Gerrit. Gerard, nu of nooit? Het was bijna nu, maar het ziet er naar uit dat het nooit gaat blijven.
Fennick. Played alongside Mark Wright just once before when he came on as a substitute when they both made their debut back in May '84 against Wales. A match that was lost, incidentally. Wright. Long legs, was he caught? Yes, he was. Flying the aggressive again, and that's very much part of his play. Fennick. And a bit of holding by Lineker. Stop Jovan coming through. Here's Hadji. First time he's really been in possession. Oh, that's not a bad try! And it came back off the crossbar. And how well it was struck. They backed off him a bit. Left foot shot. It was curling. And it came off the crossbar, and I don't think Shilton did touch it at all. Big hit against Koresh. And the referee, I think, is going to show the yellow. Yes, he does. Yellow card to Koresh. He plays for Sport 2. All the photographers around the Romanian goal, at least about 85% of them. Waddle lets it go. Hoddle for the chip up. Offside given. Won't count. Offside against Haley in the middle. nicely worked free kick with Terry Fenwick getting on the end of it. But look for the man in the middle. Intricacy here. Huddle who crossed it, but it's Haitley there. He's the one who's offside. He went too soon. Fenwick did not. But the referee had his whistle to his lips before Fenwick made contact. Clear push by Jovan. Haitley is number 9, Waddle number 11, Lineker number 10. Robson has joined them. Huddle is onside! 1-0! Oh, that's lovely! Really gorgeous goal because the Romanians were looking the other way and suddenly the barn door behind them was wide open. Look at this, they're all looking for the long ball. They move up. Huddle just stayed onside because of the defenders on the near side as we looked. And that's his 7th goal for England. And it comes in the 25th minute of this particular World Cup contest. Brian Robson. Reed. Stevens forward on the right. Lineker's come away from his defender. Haitley pulling away to the far left. Top of the picture as we look. Waddle. Well, the idea was very good. Just a little too long. Reed beaten to it by Stefanescu. Variation again. That's a teaser. Came off right. And I must say, it is very refreshing to see England playing a lot of thinking football. The corner was different from what the Romanians were expecting. That was a delightful cross. The header was by Wright. Consider the last 4 years, how he lost in Norway in the opening international, drew in Denmark, lost to the Danes here, and then struggled to get a goal past East Germany. This is markedly better. 10 minutes from half-time and England leading by 1-0. Right. Robson. Lineker starts going forward. Waddle in the hanging back position on the right side. Aguilera. Maggi. Right across. Right, catching it on the chin. And Hadji on the back of the head. It's a very competitive little run by the Romanian. Full of pace and intent. And Shilton against Kamataru. And the goalkeeper fouled. The question surely needs to be asked as to why the goalkeeper found himself with absolutely nobody between him and Kamataru. Kamataru pulls away here from Haitley, who's looking at the ball, totally lost where Kamataru's gone, and the centre forward could well have made England pay for that. Move against Jovan, who immediately goes off to search for Hately. Didn't look too confident then, Lung. And the referee does not give a free kick. And that has obviously worried Lung. Right. Benick. Last of the first 45 minutes. Lineker. Benick. Waddle wasn't moving for the ball inside the back, which is a pity. He's got a corner. Not confidently away, Reed! No reaction at all. Whatever he does, Peter Reid, his expression is that of a man who seems to have just woken up. Benick, handball by Kamataru. Stevens. Stefanescu. Godianu. Strange ball by him. Stefanescu. Right. A particularly good header. Koresh. Haji. Completely again. And Koresh presumably asking him why he didn't score. It's the last action of the half. England lead by 1-0. Scored by Glenn Hoddle in the 25th minute. Oh, no questioning the entertainment value so far. And the statistics of goal attempts make interesting reading. England had 6, scored with 1, 2 were saved and 3 were off target in the first half. And Romania had 5, 2 hit the woodwork, 1 was saved, 1 was blocked and the other 1 was off target. So for all the greater possession that England had, if Romania had a little bit more luck, they could be leading 2-1. Klein. Leaves the England bench, I would think, still wondering about pace against our defence. Reed. Robson. Lineker got away and was pulled a bit, I thought. And Reed is hurt out on the touchline. Hately, the flag is up, the flag is up. But I think Reed is in serious trouble. Seems to me to have pulled a muscle. Free kick given to Romania. Bobby Robson's usual ploy of coming down on the bench in the second half. Something he used to do at Ipswich quite often too. Here's Jovan. Line. Kamataru. Full Brian Robson. Romania yet to lose in England. Drew 1-1 here in January 69, 0-0 in April 81. Hately. It's a good player, Stefanescu. He's just set to create a new appearance record in the Romanian league. That's in the figure of Cornel Dinu, one of the players who played against us in the 70 World Cup. Korash. Huddle. He's clear as Lineker. Referee says no foul. But so nearly. I think the best thing about that was really not so much the pass, which just didn't quite come off, but the fact that he saw it so quickly, having won the ball. And the pace of Lineker was a telling factor. Kamataru, did he take it with his hand? Shilton, it's one apiece. Shilton obviously thought that he used his hand. Look at Francescu there. Good heavens, what's this? But I must say I thought the number 9 used his hand. With a flick on by Redknapp. Surely there was a touch of the forearm there. But he got right through the heart of the England defence. Peter Shilton to meet him. And Shilton, in fact, went the wrong way. Huddle. Reed. Hately. Lineker. Stevens. Well, every man knew what he was doing. Reed's cross, won by Robson, on by Hately, little touch from Lineker, but really Stevens didn't get over the ball, he was leaning back. Sansom. Cleanly away from Hadji. Lineker, good save. What a lovely piece of play by Kenny Sansom. All swivel hips, all neat control, played it off as he was moving on to the other foot. Well struck and well saved. Huddle. Yes! Barnes! Yes! No! The flag is up on the far side. Well, I can only think the flag was for offside. Must have been very, very tight indeed. Well, level would be enough. What a pity. And Klein is coming off to be replaced by Mathieu. 2 minutes left. Bobby Robson showing his disappointment. It seemed to be the most incisive move that England had made in the entire evening. Because the goal, one has to remember, came from a set piece and meant in open play. Sansom. Hasn't given too many away. Negia. Not a good ball by Robson. Hoddle really didn't look as though he wanted it. Hoddle, nobody left side, so he has to turn. Barnes again, starting to wander, and looks much happier when he's allowed to do that. His manager feels he's a better player when he's allowed to do that. One it is, and Mircea Lucescu greets that as a victory, which for him it is, to get a point here at Wembley.
Near post, but he didn't get a touch on that one. Oh, Nicholas, the cross is in low, and the goal! Mark Hughes! Can Scotland get this important equalising goal? Exactly 10 minutes left. Look, the handball, and it's a penalty. A penalty to Scotland. Now, I wonder who would be in Davy Cooper's boots now. He scored! Scotland have equalised. They might well have saved themselves with 9 minutes to go.
Denmark, in red, fell behind after 31 minutes. A sparkling individual goal by Sweden's Robert Pritz, now back in his own country playing for IFK Gothenburg after his spell with Glasgow Rangers. His goal put Sweden on their way to a comfortable victory in this friendly, which they secured with 2 further goals in the second half. After 68 minutes, a dreadful nonsense in the Danish defence let in Dan Corneliussen. That made it 2-0, and although the Danes had been unable to call on all their exiled stars for this match, their disappointing performance was compounded by Sweden's third goal, which came 2 minutes from the end, scored by substitute Mats Magnusson. Denmark 0, Sweden 3. Belgium in white certainly chased that victory. The first half shot into the side netting there by Eddie Voordeckers. But at the other end, Poland came even closer when Boniek hit the post. The Polish captain has swapped Italian clubs from Juventus to Roma, and his country are on their way to their 4th successive World Cup finals. But only after a heart-stopping moment, 5 minutes from the end of the match. It was then that the Belgian fullback Eric Gerrits appeared to be upended inside the Polish penalty area. But Scottish referee Bob Valentine from Dundee ruled that the offence had taken place just outside the area. On such a slender thread hung Poland's definite qualification and Belgium's need now for a playoff. Final score, Poland 0, Belgium 0.
So Poland get the point they needed, the 7th country to ensure a place in Mexico. Goal difference separating them from Belgium, who now face close neighbours Holland in a playoff game for a place in the final.
East Germany in the white shirts, playing from the left, took the lead early in the second half. The scorer was their tall blonde striker, Rainer Ernst, whose first effort there crossed the line before Fernandes fisted the ball back out. The goal stood 1-0 to East Germany. And then, 10 minutes from time, France, still a goal down and with blue shirts piled forward in trying to save the game, were caught by the classic counter-attack. The East Germans broke swiftly, and again Ernst was involved, this time collecting the ball over on the left and pulling it back into the path of fullback Ronald Krier, whose shot flew through a crowd of players and past Joel Batz in the French goal. France manager Henri Michel admitted afterwards that East Germany deserved their 2-0 win.
An important win for East Germany, giving them an outside chance of qualifying from Group 4. But Bulgaria are in the driving seat. They'll be almost there if they win in Luxembourg later this month. However, November will be the crunch month. That's when France meet Yugoslavia at home and East Germany face Bulgaria. Armeli's first effort clearly over the line before the ensuing scramble. 1-0 to Israel in this, the second game in the group. The previous match 5 days earlier seeing Israel beat Taiwan 6-0. And stand by now for a terrific strike from a familiar face. Avi Cohen, formerly of Liverpool as a defender, but looking every inch like Ian Rush. 2-0 to Israel, and they added 3 more in the second half while showing some clever and precise football. This nice move ends with Eli Ohana scoring at the second attempt. Now that made it 3-0 for Israel, and Ohana then went from strength to strength. Even accepting the poor opposition put up by Taiwan, this fourth goal was beautifully constructed. It contained accuracy of pass and, as you'll see, a perfectly delivered final cross for Ohana to head home. 2 for Ohana, 4-0 for Israel, and their fifth was also created on the left. If anything, the passing skills were even tighter, leading to the chance for Ohana to complete his hat-trick. And obviously, should it be Israel who the Scots have to face in a playoff, they're not going to be pushovers by any stretch of the imagination. Israel 5, Taiwan 0.
And Houghton holding his man there. Well, I don't think there's any point in arguing. It's quite obvious what he did. And the referee would be justified in giving the free kick to Switzerland. Marco Schellebaum then, the left back, who wears number 2, take the free kick. 6 Swiss in and around the area. Inalbon! From surely no more than 4 yards, Charlie Inalbon managed to sky it over the top. Schellebaum picked him out so well. Got in behind the defenders, made the contact, put it over the top. Brady for Houghton. And Chris Houghton wants to go all the way. Well, he hasn't scored many, Chris Houghton. He got one against Cyprus some years ago. He very nearly got one there, thanks to the goalkeeper. Deciding to have a pot himself, Engel made all sorts of problems for himself, and Inalbon it was who got it away. Cascarino hovering there. Well, that's the Irish bench, waiting to send Paul McGryan. Schellebaum. And a chance here with O'Leary to the rescue. The ball from Perret on the right wing, and O'Leary had to clear it. Schellebaum again. McCarthy up this time. Safety with a goal kick. Beglin beaten by the pace of the ball. Perret getting it in. Mate couldn't connect, and O'Leary had to save the day. Karl Engel has the organising to do. Stapleton up, Cascarino there too. Well, he could very nearly have written a piece of history for himself. Was very sharp on the turn, Tony Cascarino. Stapleton went up for the free kick, but watch for Cascarino a little further over. There's Stapleton, it broke to Cascarino. Was quick on the turn, and that wasn't very far away at all. And now Stapleton. And Brady. O'Callaghan. Intelligent ball by O'Callaghan. Beglin with time to measure the cross. Stapleton! That could well be the final act in the drama. I know there's still 12 minutes to go, but from 6 yards you've got to bury them.
A corner taken by West Bromwich Albion player Carl Valentine led to Canada taking the lead after 16 minutes, the scorer George Pacos. With Canada needing the win to qualify, it was just the start they needed, but Honduras, who contained the nucleus of their 1982 World Cup side, came back in the second half. Their equaliser followed a dynamic run on the right to set up the chance for Betancourt to score on the turn at the second attempt. That was in the 49th minute, but Canada snatched the vital goal 12 minutes later. A Valentine corner again did the damage. An in-swinger to the near post, and Bratislava-born Igor Vrablic finished the job. There then followed 29 nail-biting minutes for Canada, and especially their manager, Tony Waiters. But 2-1 it stayed, and the celebrations began as Canada became the 8th team to qualify for the World Cup finals. And there's the confirmation of the 8 sides: Mexico the hosts, Italy the holders, Argentina, Brazil, Canada, Hungary, Poland and Uruguay.
Iceland in the blue shirts took that shock lead through Thorbjornsson after 35 minutes. Welsh hopes were revived, but 2 local heroes who used to play together in Seville turned things for Spain. Gordillo supplied the pass, Rincon the finish. The goal came a minute before half-time, relieving the tension for a crowd of 55,000. Early in the second half, Gordillo, who moved from Betis of Seville to Real Madrid last summer, began and finished the move which produced Spain's winning goal. After missing the European Championship final through suspension, Gordillo can now look forward to playing in the next World Cup finals. Spain 2, Iceland 1.
So Spain's hard-earned victory means that Wales are out, denied a place in the finals for the second time running on goal difference. As for Scotland, well, they now face a home and away playoff against the winners of the Oceania group, and that's likely to be Israel.
Bulgaria had to reshape their side after the life suspensions which followed the fighting in their cup final. But any concern for their immediate future was eased by a goal in the second minute. The scorer, Petar Petrov. Before the half hour, some neat football produced a second goal and suggested a more inventive approach than has been their style in the past. For all the fact that Kostadinov's shot was deflected home by Barboni. For the third goal in the 32nd minute, it's worth noting how many Luxembourg players are spectators, as Georgi Dimitrov scores unmolested. Still, there was some consolation for the whipping boys of qualifying from Europe for the World Cup finals when a late fall produced a penalty. Up stepped Lungas to score from the penalty spot, but Bulgaria were long since thinking of the finals, leaving the more fancied sides to battle for the runner-up position.
Yes, Bulgaria topping Group 4 on their way to Mexico, leaving Yugoslavia, France and East Germany to scrap it out. Yugoslavia, in fact, are at home to East Germany today. And for the European champions France, 2 home wins are essential to ensure their...
Ci sono la Jugoslavia, la Francia di Michel Platini, ecco intanto l'autogol di Barboni, e la Germania orientale, un girone molto equilibrato dunque, con partite da giocare che possono e debbono decidere ovviamente la seconda squadra qualificata in questo raggruppamento. 8 squadre già qualificate, 3 qualificate ieri e siamo a 11, ne mancano ancora 13 e da qui alla fine di novembre si vedrà che cosa succederà in varie parti d'Europa e del mondo. Ecco intanto il terzo gol di Dimitrov, la Bulgaria che era partita in maniera piuttosto stentata nel suo gruppo con una sconfitta a Parigi contro la Francia, si è poi ripresa e ha vinto il suo girone con 11 punti in 7 partite, ne deve giocare ancora una, ma non corre più praticamente nessun rischio. Ecco intanto il fallo che induce l'arbitro a concedere il calcio di rigore per il Lussemburgo, che ha così modo di accorciare le distanze.
A Sport 7, innanzitutto auguri mister per il suo compleanno, anche se i ragazzi questo regalo non gliel'hanno proprio fatto, no?
Non è la prima volta che ciò succede, infatti alla vigilia ricordavo la partita con la Finlandia del mio debutto, mi pare che era il 25 settembre anche allora, e non mi diedero la gioia del risultato.
0-0.
Siamo stati più fortunati di oggi però, perché allora dovevamo perdere e abbiamo fatto 0-0.
Senta, ma al di là del risultato che in questo momento importa fino a un certo punto, questa sconfitta in prospettiva, non come sconfitta in se stesso, la preoccupa?
Senta, il risultato è importante secondo me perché questo pubblico meritava un risultato, una vittoria. Oggi se avessimo vinto anche i problemi non sarebbero certo scomparsi. Però avremmo dato al pubblico una vittoria, il pubblico la voleva, il pubblico è stato entusiasta, eccezionale fino alla fine, ha sempre sostenuto gli azzurri, ma questi non erano in condizione di accontentarli. Sono dispiaciuto molto per questo. Però anche se avessimo vinto i problemi ci sono, e che significa che se non si è in buona condizione fisica è difficile oggi contro qualsiasi squadra a livello internazionale. La dimostrazione è evidente, no? Ci siamo pescato non so decine di volte in fuorigioco, che significa che i riflessi non c'erano. Abbiamo sbagliato un paio di gol a un paio di metri, il che significa che i riflessi non c'erano. Se non ci sono i riflessi vuol dire che non c'è una buona condizione fisica. Sì, è il presupposto più importante per poter giocare al calcio.
infatti loro sembravano una squadra autentica perché erano più forti fisicamente.
Fisicamente loro hanno un campionato più avanzato, ora quindi le partite diciamo con la Polonia e con la Germania mi sembra saranno dei test sicuramente più validi anche
ecco,
perché...
saremo sicuramente meglio preparati, allora se dovessero ricomparire dei problemi con la Polonia prescindendo dai risultati e con la Germania allora è chiaro che bisogna risolversi.
Perché lei in questo momento come organico mi sembra che si sente abbastanza soddisfatto, voglio dire, no? I giocatori che lei vuole ce li ha.
Beh, questi li abbiamo lasciati 3 mesi fa dopo una buona tournée mi sembra, no? Dove tutte le squadre anche considerate grandi hanno ceduto, ecco, in Messico. Non credo che improvvisamente questi non ci siano più. Oggi si sono visti i cedimenti fin dai primi minuti da squadra che non legava, certo, i reparti slegati, per cui un reparto pian pianino trascinava l'altro nel disfacimento
Dicevo
totale.
persino la difesa, che forse è il reparto più forte della nazionale, ha avuto qualche tentativo.
Sì, la difesa veramente come individualità è molto buona. C'è stato un cedimento pian piano dei singoli fino a che ogni reparto ha dato i suoi sintomi di cedimento fino poi al disfacimento totale, la squadra non c'era più.
Senta mister, in prospettiva sempre, lei diceva fino a qualche tempo fa che un problema che la preoccupava forse più di altri era la mancanza di alternativa nelle punte, allora diceva che dietro Rossi, Altobelli e Giordano non c'erano grandi giocatori, poi è uscito fuori Calderisi, Serena, ora c'è anche questo Vialli, insomma non esiste più il problema delle punte ai fini del Messico.
Le punte, quelle che abbiamo adesso, il Messico hanno fatto abbastanza bene, io ho ripetuto. Gli uomini, è chiaro che non si può preparare 7-8 punte, ma bisogna prepararne prima quelle che hanno avuto la possibilità di cominciare prima, secondo me, e che hanno fatto bene. Ma oggi lei ha visto, quando abbiamo anche cambiato gli uomini, i fattori non sono cambiati. Se c'è una mancanza di condizione nei confronti di un altro calcio, no, che è veramente preparato, è chiaro che qualsiasi cambio, si deve cambiare tutti gli 11 oggi, ma forse i fattori non sarebbero cambiati.
Un'ultima domanda, con che spirito si andrà in Messico rispetto alla catastrofe che c'è stata? Io dico si andrà perché sono convinto che si andrà in Messico come è convinto tutto il mondo dello sport. Con che spirito voi andrete in Messico?
Sa, come uomini di sport che portano sempre la loro solidarietà morale, umana e il loro entusiasmo, si porta un messaggio che è un messaggio d'amore quello dello sport secondo me, non certo messaggi di tipo diverso. Daremo il nostro contributo in calore a gente che ha sofferto molto, onorando lo sport prima cosa e cercando di far dimenticare al più presto questa tragedia che ha coinvolto questo popolo così mite, no? Così vicino a noi.
Il primo tempo e il pareggio nella ripresa da parte degli svedesi. Ecco il gol d'apertura, lo segna il 24esimo Föller su corner tirato da Littbarski, il centravanti del Werder Brema che conferma le sue doti di cannoniere. Si intravede Rummenigge che festeggiava i 30 anni, auguri a lui come auguri a Bearzot, è un periodo di compleanni a Tardelli, molti sono i giocatori nati in questo periodo. Dicevo dunque del gol realizzato da Föller che rivediamo sul corner di Littbarski, non è molto pronto nella circostanza il portiere Ravelli che sembra piuttosto spiazzato e non riesce a trattenere il pallone, come meglio si può vedere nella ripresa dall'angolazione da dietro alla porta. Ecco, vedete Ravelli un po' spiazzato, arriva in ritardo, gli si piegano letteralmente le mani. Il gol successivo è un po' a metà strada tra una prodezza di Littbarski e un'incertezza di Isen che si fa strappare il pallone. Bravissimo comunque poi Herget a realizzare con un tiro dal limite al volo sul passaggio di Littbarski. Un gran gol per il 2-0 tedesco in un momento in cui la formazione di Franz Beckenbauer domina letteralmente sul campo e riesce a ottenere questo vantaggio rassicurante a tutti i fini. In effetti alla Germania in partenza già si sapeva bastava un pareggio per qualificarsi per la fase finale del mondiale. In questo modo tra l'altro la Germania conservava almeno fino a questo punto la possibilità addirittura di restare a punteggio pieno. Invece la reazione svedese nel secondo tempo è stata veramente notevole ed ecco vediamo Corneliusson che va al gol sorprendendo, è proprio il caso di dire, sbucandogli alle spalle, sorprendendo, vedete anche il gesto, lo stopper Förster che è uno dei migliori stopper, considerato uno dei migliori stopper del mondo, ma che nella circostanza si fa letteralmente bruciare sul tempo, come possiamo vedere tra poco nella ripresa rallentata e da altra angolazione del azione del gol degli svedesi. Ecco il traversone, vedete come Corneliusson va a sbucare alle spalle di Förster, lo anticipa e batte a rete da distanza ravvicinata, battendo Schumacher abbastanza agevolmente. Il gol del 2-1, risultato che resta tale fino in pratica al 90° minuto. All'88° minuto, un minuto prima dell'azione che stiamo vedendo, Arneson, il commissario tecnico svedese, fa entrare Magnusson con una decisione che appare ai più incomprensibile, ma che incomprensibile non è, perché proprio Magnusson realizza un minuto dopo essere entrato il gol di questo pareggio. Importantissimo per gli svedesi, importante comunque anche per i tedeschi che, come si diceva, hanno la certezza di qualificarsi, giustificata l'esultanza della panchina svedese anche perché poco prima era giunta la notizia che la Cecoslovacchia aveva battuto per 1-0 il Portogallo, e vedremo tra poco anche le immagini di quella partita, determinando una situazione decisamente favorevole agli svedesi per la qualificazione, dato che da questo gruppo passano alla fase finale del mondiale 2 squadre. Ancora immagini del gol di Magnusson e siamo sul 2-2 conclusivo. Eccolo ancora da dietro la porta, il bel diagonale di Magnusson sull'uscita del grande portiere tedesco Toni Harald Schumacher. E siamo, come dicevo, a Praga, Cecoslovacchia-Portogallo, vittoria per 1-0, maturata attraverso il gol realizzato al 20° minuto della ripresa da Ruska al termine di questa azione, di cui è protagonista peraltro il numero 6 Berger, che vediamo apprestarsi a battere una punizione. Intanto c'è da sottolineare che il Portogallo è largamente incompleto e non ha opposto una grandissima resistenza alla Cecoslovacchia. Berger si è allontanato e proprio verso di lui viene indirizzato il pallone, ma non con eccessiva precisione. Però Berger si tuffa, in qualche modo riesce a raggiungere la palla, la tiene viva, diciamo così, ed ecco che arriva al pallone a Ruska sulla sinistra, che è abbastanza solo, in condizioni ideali per poter battere Bento, che rimane piuttosto sorpreso e se la prende anche un po' con i suoi compagni della difesa, un po' incerti, soprattutto nel salto al centro dell'area. È il gol della vittoria, il gol che permette alla Cecoslovacchia di fare un passo avanti, anche se non pregiudica totalmente. Ci dirà qual è la situazione con la Germania già qualificata e col grande equilibrio tra Svezia, Portogallo, Cecoslovacchia e Malta, ovviamente tagliata fuori, non ha più problemi. E vedete che la situazione della Cecoslovacchia è vantaggiosa senz'altro. La Svezia ha un punto in più, potrebbe essere considerata la favorita tra le tre, ma indubbiamente c'è ancora molto da decidere per la seconda qualificata del gruppo 2. Per 1-0 siamo nel gruppo 3, si gioca a Tampere e vince con un gol di Rantanen, un gol piuttosto strano che comunque vale la pena di vedere, un cross che diventa un gol imparabile per l'incertezza forse anche del portiere turco Yazar. Vittoria della squadra finlandese che esauriva con questo incontro tutte le sue partite nel raggruppamento e che non ha chance di qualificazione in un gruppo che è dominato dall'Inghilterra. Ecco, rivediamo in varie versioni il gol di Rantanen, il pallonetto che va a insaccarsi e a sbattere poi sotto il ferro di sostegno, dando addirittura l'impressione di non essere entrato, ma è gol chiaramente, ed è il gol decisivo di una partita piuttosto dura nella quale ci sono stati anche 2 espulsi, uno per parte. E subito dalle immagini alla classifica, pressoché certa di potersi qualificare, mentre la Finlandia ha giocato tutte le sue 8 partite, è tagliata fuori, ci sono Romania e Irlanda a contendersi l'ulteriore posto utile per la qualificazione. Ancora avanti col gruppo 4, Lussemburgo-Bulgaria, stiamo per vedere adesso le immagini della partita successiva. Lussemburgo-Bulgaria che è stata vinta dai bulgari per 3-1, si giocava a Lussemburgo, è applicata ieri insieme alla Germania e alla Spagna, una vittoria piuttosto facile anche perché ci si sono messi anche i lussemburghesi con 2 autogol. Il primo l'abbiamo visto, un perfetto colpo di testa di Scheurer, adesso invece una deviazione più sfortunata da parte di Barboni. Sono nomi di giocatori come quello del portiere Van Rijswijk che sono conosciuti ormai in Italia, perché la settimana scorsa li abbiamo visti avversari della Juventus e li ritroveremo avversari della Juventus in Coppa dei Campioni. Ecco il tiro di Kostadinov deviato da Barboni, 2-0, tutto facile per la Bulgaria che conquista così aritmeticamente la qualificazione al mondiale, porta a 3 i suoi gol, questa volta realizzando in proprio con Dimitrov al termine dell'azione che stiamo seguendo. La Bulgaria è una squadra dura, grintosa, molto efficace, aveva cominciato un po' male le partite del suo raggruppamento, ma via via ha preso forza e consistenza. La svolta è stata forse la vittoria sulla nazionale francese nella partita giocata a Sofia la scorsa primavera. E intanto ecco il rigore concesso dall'arbitro Saim per questo intervento falloso di Arabov, rigore trasformato da Langers, più o meno irrilevante ai fini della classifica anche della partita, salva soltanto per così dire l'onore dei lussemburghesi. Dal comando con 11 punti in 7 partite, ormai già qualificate con Jugoslavia, Francia e Germania orientale. in una lotta serratissima che già da sabato potrebbe prendere un piega particolare, in quanto sabato si gioca Jugoslavia, Germania orientale. Alla Francia di Michel Platini restano da giocare 2 incontri casalinghi, quello facilissimo. In campo Berggren, Laudrup, Larsen. Il gol decisivo al 5° minuto della ripresa, opera di Protasov, dopo che il grande protagonista della partita era stato Blokin con una serie di tiri che avevano impegnato il portiere Rasmussen. Rendimento degli italiani ancora una volta tra virgolette, buono quello di Laudrup, ottimo quello di Berggren, sfortunatissimo Elfjer Larsen, uscito dopo 15 minuti di gioco per infortunio, un infortunio che si somma veramente in un periodo sfortunato per questo giocatore alla stranissima squalifica, dire strana e dire poco, piombatagli tra capo e collo per un fatto successo il 2 di agosto scorso in una partita amichevole contro il Kaiserslautern. Vedete che l'Unione Sovietica, ecco proprio Blokin di cui si diceva, ha impegnato duramente la difesa danese. I danesi tentavano di ottenere un pareggio che poteva essere molto importante. Vedete ancora Rasmussen al lavoro. Non sono riusciti in questa impresa. D'altra parte, in questo modo l'Unione Sovietica ritrova speranze di qualificarsi. La Danimarca non le perde completamente. Nel gruppo, il gruppo 6, ci sono 2 posti utili. Seguiamo intanto ancora le immagini di questa partita con le rarissime reazioni solo nel finale della squadra danese, forse condizionata anche dall'uscita dal campo al 15° minuto di Larsen, e vediamo proprio Laudrup in azione con un tiro abbastanza pericoloso che costringe Dasev alla parata a terra. Laudrup e Berggren, ecco inquadrato Michael Laudrup, e poi gli ultimi tentativi ancora con gli attaccanti danesi che tentano di ottenere il pareggio, non ci riescono. Subito pronta la classifica, vedete che c'è un equilibrio veramente estremo, al punto che la stessa Norvegia non può considerarsi completamente tagliata fuori. Una situazione tutta da decifrare. Tale non è invece la situazione mondiale. Addirittura a Siviglia era andata in vantaggio l'Islanda con questo gol di Pettersson al 35° minuto del primo tempo. Una piega clamorosa per la partita. In questa città, a Siviglia, si giocava col caldo, era forse stata scelta proprio una serie di questo genere dagli spagnoli per aumentare le loro chance, che comunque vengono poi realizzate nell'arco già del primo tempo, con il pareggio al 45° minuto di Rincon, vale a dire proprio alla fine del primo tempo. Il pareggio è giustificata l'esultanza del marcatore, esultanza anche sugli spalti dei tifosi sivigliani, e poi il gol decisivo è realizzato al 7° della ripresa da Gordiglio, in un momento in cui la Spagna preme con molta intensità. Ecco, questa mezza girata di Gordiglio dà la vittoria e la qualificazione alla Spagna. Dall'esultanza di Gordiglio e della sua capriola immediatamente al tabellone della classifica, con la Spagna qualificata. Qui il girone si è già completamente esaurito.
Pierre Littbarski's corner enabled the prolific Rudi Völler to head West Germany into the lead after 23 minutes. Curiously, Sweden had been the Germans' opponents in a World Cup qualifying match exactly 20 years earlier, when Franz Beckenbauer won the first of his 103 international caps. These days, Beckenbauer is manager of a West German side whose World Cup form seems to be in a higher gear than their performances in recent friendlies. They began well in Malmö, increasing their lead 5 minutes later. Again, little Littbarski was the instigator. This time, his trickery on the left tormented the Swedish defence and created the opening for Matthias Herget to smash his shot past Thomas Ravelli. This was like the real West Germany, a country who still have the almost unbelievable distinction of never having lost a World Cup qualifying match. And the way they played in the first half here, there seemed little danger of a threat to that record. The half-time score was 2-0 to the Germans. But in the second half, Sweden, playing now from the right, launched a spirited recovery in a bid to keep their World Cup hopes alive. After 63 minutes, Dan Corneliusson pulled a goal back, to the delight of the home crowd. The Germans should have known something about him, because Corneliusson used to play in their Bundesliga for Stuttgart. These days, he's in the more demanding Italian league with Como, and his instinct near goal got him in front of the current Stuttgart star, Karl-Heinz Förster, one of Europe's most experienced defenders. That made it 2-1, but there was more to come from Sweden. In the dying minutes, their manager Lars Arnesson sent on substitute Mats Magnusson, and with his first contribution, he slipped the ball past Schumacher to equalise with only a minute of the match left. Magnusson, another of Sweden's exiles, plays in Switzerland for Servette Geneva. But with that goal, he kept his home country in with a chance of qualifying for the finals. Magnusson, who last week scored against Linfield in the European Cup, described this thrilling finish as unbelievable. but it made no difference to the West Germans. 1 point from this 2-2 draw ensured their qualification.
Meanwhile, in Prague, Czechoslovakia were proving that bad free kicks can produce dividends. With so many Portuguese players attacking the ball, the defence was all over the place when Ivan Hašek found Vladimir Hruška for the only goal, and one which greatly improves Czechoslovakia's chances of qualifying. It's a funny game, football. The scorer had taken the free kick.
And that leaves Group 2 looking like this. The West Germans losing their 100% record, but again in the finals. And Sweden, Portugal and Czechoslovakia left to take the other place. The Germans could have a big say in who makes it. They have 2 home games left against Portugal and the Czechs. So the Germans become the 11th nation to qualify, with 13 places for the finals still to be decided. The full list: the hosts Mexico, Italy, we'll see the holders in fact in action shortly, Argentina, Brazil, Bulgaria, Canada, Hungary, Poland, Spain, Uruguay and West Germany.
In Copenhagen, these two sides produced probably the best qualifying match to date. Now Morozov's low header, which put Protasov in behind his marker, gave the Soviets revenge for the earlier defeat. While Muscovites prove that it's not only the bowler-hatted British who wave umbrellas, the Danes might reasonably feel that the ball shouldn't have been allowed to find its way through, but they could have no complaint about the result on the balance of play.
1-0 to the Soviet Union, and a result which pushed the Republic of Ireland down to 3rd place. It's so tight, though, with the top 4 all having 6 points, but with Denmark leading on goal difference and with a game in hand of the other 3.
Finland are in the blue shirts, playing from the right, and the only goal was something of a freak effort. Rantanen's attempted cross after 37 minutes looped over the Turkish goalkeeper Yassar, leaving him looking embarrassed and suitably bewildered. Turkey also had a man sent off, so it was hardly a morale booster for their visit to Wembley next month. Finland 1, Turkey 0.
And as a result of that win, Finland move into 2nd place in Group 3, but they've finished their programme and will be overtaken by Romania or Northern Ireland.
Italy, in blue shirts, playing from right to left, marked Enzo Bearzot's celebrations by taking the lead after 26 minutes. Bruno Conti's cross cut out the goalkeeper and gave Altobelli an easy header. But then the manager's anniversaries turned sour. Norway equalised through Arne Larsen Erkland after 37 minutes. And 5 minutes later, they grabbed what proved to be the winner. Davidson, maybe with a little bit of help from left-back Cabrini, making it Italy 1, Norway 2.
In Hong Kong, Japan had a 3-0 lead from the first leg, and Kazushi Kimura put the tie beyond reach when he scored just before half-time. They found another hero in the second half when Hong Kong were awarded a penalty for hands. An inscrutable-looking goalkeeper called Matsui. He was saved by the post, but when the referee said, "Take it again," Matsui took it all in his stride. Chi Kyung did manage to spoil his clean sheet 10 minutes from the end. But with a minute left, Hiromi Hara, suitably, made it 2-1 and 5-1 on aggregate. In Damascus, Abdel Kader Kadaghil of Syria is the name on everyone's lips. Keith Birkinshaw, ex-Spurs, now the manager of Bahrain, may have a different name for him. His goal in the 4th minute put Bahrain out of the World Cup. The local commentator, though, had several words of praise to describe it. As the scoreboard says, Lashi Wahid, of course.
Well, that 4th-minute goal ended the World Cup ambitions of Bahrain and Keith Birkinshaw. Meanwhile, although the United Arab Emirates beat Iraq 2-1 yesterday, Iraq stayed ahead on away goals, and now they meet Syria to decide who'll go to Mexico from the Asian qualifying Group 2. As for Asian qualifying Group 4, well, Japan's win means they face South Korea, probably the strongest nation in the Far East for a place in the finals.
Raksawi struck first for Tunisia after 15 minutes in Tunis, but the Tunisians flattered to deceive. Only 9 minutes later, Madjer pounced following the fumble by goalkeeper Sebai to equalise for Algeria. Algeria had never before won in Tunis, but from the moment Menad put them in front a minute before half-time, they moved surely towards an historic result. Two more goals for Algeria in the second stunned the Tunisians, Kachi Said making it 3-1. Algeria seeking to become the first African nation to qualify for successive World Cup finals. And Menad's second goal, 3 minutes from time, gave Algeria a formidable 4-1 advantage to take into their home leg of this semi-final. That's next week in Algiers.
Went into the lead in the second half. Now, the scorer there, very interesting for Arsenal fans, John Kosmina,
yes,
who used to play for the Arsenal, and he put them ahead.
Things people do to get away from Highbury, isn't it? Go to Australia, it's quite incredible.
And actually, it was John again coming out with a lovely header, beautiful header, to put them 2-0 up. Now, the game was played in Tel Aviv, 40,000 crowd there, so, you know, the Aussies obviously feel they can go away from home and get a result. This is the Israeli goal, Armeli knocking that one in, but 2-1.
It was a match Denmark should have won. The woodwork saved the Swiss. It was Berggren's chance from Arneson's corner. It was the closest that Denmark came to scoring in the first half, and in the second they could well have had a penalty. Kevin Elkjær appeared to be pushed down there, but the referee just wasn't interested. Another close call for the Swiss. Søren Lerbu with a cross. Arneson's chance well saved by Engel with the help of a post. Denmark did in the end get a penalty, in as it transpired somewhat dubious circumstances. Frank Arneson there, pulled down by Geiger, or so it looked to the referee. And to be fair to us first time around, until you see the replay. Was that a penalty? I think not. However, justice was done. Engel with a fine save.
Here's Protasov. Protasov pulls it wide, and it's in the net. It's in the net, and the Soviet Union have scored. And the fans here in the Lenin Stadium. Cherenkov it was indeed. Brady. Houghton. Whelan. Brady. Whelan. And a corner kick, and what a start for Ronnie Whelan. That's what Owen Hand said when he made his choice of his benchmen. He said that he went for Whelan because he gave him the option of right or left cover, whereas Sheedy only gave him cover on the left. As it turns out, Whelan comes into the game on the right-hand side of the midfield. Carney de Laurent. Cascarino. Bubnov. Kondratyev. Cherenkov. Zakharov. Cherenkov again, the goal scorer. Zavarov. Kondratyev. Demyanenko. James McDonough down on that. Demyanenko, he really has been a problem for Ireland.
Cherenkov to Protasov. Cherenkov. Bestonov. Gotsmanov. Lovely play, Gotsmanov. And it's in the net. Mick McCarthy was there. Well, that truly wraps it up now. The Soviet Union 2, the Republic of Ireland 0.
West Germany's 1-0 defeat was their first ever in a World Cup qualifier, and it was a fine individual goal by Carlos Manuel that ended the amazing record stretching back 33 games. and clinched Portugal's qualification. Although the Germans hit the bar 3 times in the last few minutes, they haven't won in their last 5 matches. And manager Franz Beckenbauer's concern at a lack of talent may not deflect pressure on his own position.
That result left Group 2 looking like this. Portugal on 10 points, 1 less than the West Germans, but uncatchable. The 2 remaining games, West Germany versus Czechoslovakia and Malta v Sweden, are purely academic. Portugal's success made them the 13th qualifier, and there were 2 more additions yesterday when Algeria and Morocco qualified from the African zone. The 16th qualifier could well be Denmark from Group 6. The Danes are almost there after knocking in these 5 goals in Norway on Wednesday.
Denmark in the light strip were a goal down when a sloppy back pass by Hareide allowed Michael Ladrup to equalise early in the second half. Norway had just lost their central defender, and Denmark's wavering World Cup prospects were further revived by another defensive blunder 10 minutes later. Frank Arnesen was the player whose route to goal had unceremoniously been blocked by Thuresen. The penalty was duly scored by Søren Lerby, and Norway's goalkeeper Torstvedt showed his displeasure. Denmark made virtually certain of World Cup qualification, scoring 3 more in the last 21 minutes. Elkjær scored that one, and it was his persistence plus a lucky break that made him the provider of goal number 4, scored eventually by Klaus Berggren. Norway's concentration and commitment had gone when Berggren scored again 4 minutes later to delight Denmark's manager, Sepp Piontek. The Republic of Ireland hoped to defend for a draw in Moscow, but that plan came unstuck after an hour when Protasov broke down the right and the Soviet star player Cherenkov scored from close range. That defeat virtually ended the Republic's World Cup hopes and led manager Owen Henn to say that he'd quit after the last group game. Defeat wrapped up in the last minute when Protasov headed in from close range.
So Denmark as good as on their way to Mexico, with the Soviet Union almost certain to go too. Denmark's last game is in Dublin on November the 13th, with the Soviets' final qualifier on Wednesday week at home to Norway.
Despite playing against 10 men for almost the whole of the match, the Belgians only managed a 1-goal advantage from this home leg. A really well-struck shot by Vercauteren after 19 minutes. Vercauteren showing no side effects from the blow in the throat which had led to Holland's Wim Kieft being sent off after only 4 minutes.
Dat was een PSV-duel. En daar Kieft, die daar een slag heeft aan Vercauteren. En die wordt uitgesloten. Ik weet niet of dat te zien is. Wim Kieft. Grote sensatie, we zijn 3 minuten ver. Daar is Gerets met Gullit. Daar is Kieft, die pakt de bal. En daar is de slag. En er was een voet van Vercauteren. Omdat, ja inderdaad. Omdat Vercauteren wou beletten dat Kieft die bal blokkeerde, het spel stillegde. En een spijtig begin, een heel spijtig begin op voetbalgebied van deze interland. Vercauteren ruimte zoeken en vinden, dat is het probleem. En nu komt natuurlijk tot uiting dat we zonder buitenspelers spelen. Van der Elst. Ja, als hij met die rechter kan afdrukken. Dat bruskruid is altijd droog. Verkouteren. Alles terug bij Hoekschoppen, dat is normaal. Klaassen. Bijzonder kwik. Keulemans die verlengt. Verkouter dan nog. Ja! Oh la 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 la! Frankie! De kromme bal van Frankie Verkouter. Ribéry Molen. Geef het nog netjes. Klaassen. Een geluk dat we net die corner hebben gehad, dat Frankie dan nog is. Hier gaan we het nog beter kunnen zien. Hoe Van Breukelen verrast wordt. Onbetaalbaar.
The winners of the Oceania group. Currently, New Zealand are a point ahead of Israel and 2 ahead of Australia, although the Aussies have played a game less. Well, here's a sample of their striking ability, the best of their 5 goals against Taiwan last weekend. The scorer, Grant Turner.
Campionato europeo per nazioni. L'Inghilterra ha risolto alla grande la formalità della partita contro la Turchia che le ha dato la qualificazione 5-0 con 4 gol nel primo tempo. Primo gol è quello di Waddle su azione personale. Poco dopo inaugura la sua tripletta Gary Lineker dell'Everton su assist di Stevens. E poi il capitano Brian Robson a segnare il terzo gol sugli sviluppi di un palo da lui colpito, palla respinta e poi nell'azione successiva gol da parte dello stesso Robson. Eccolo. Prima dello scadere, altro gol di testa da parte di Lineker, sempre su cross dalla destra di Stevens. L'Inghilterra è l'unica nazionale ancora imbattuta di tutte le qualificazioni europee. L'ultimo gol ancora di Lineker sul servizio di Waddle. Come detto, Hatley si è infortunato. Clamoroso a Stoccarda, con questo gol segnato da Carlos Manuel il Portogallo si è qualificato per i mondiali ed ha inflitto la prima sconfitta in assoluto alla Germania in partite di qualificazione mondiale. I tedeschi, che erano già qualificati, hanno cercato di reagire nel finale dopo questo gol di Carlos Manuel e hanno colto 2 traverse con il veronese Briegel. Ecco la prima, vedete poi che Rummenigge non riesce a risolvere, e poi ancora un'altra traversa colpita da Briegel. Vince il Portogallo e si qualifica. E quindi tripudio ovviamente da parte dei portoghesi che vanno al mondiale. La sconfitta a Praga ha condannato la Svezia, che pure si era illusa dopo il gol del comasco Corneliusson che l'aveva portata in vantaggio. Ecco l'azione. Ma prima un autogol di Andrea Revelli che mette fuori causa il fratello, il portiere Thomas Revelli, e poi nella ripresa il gol di Visek danno la vittoria alla Cecoslovacchia e via libera al Portogallo. Probabilmente decisivo il 5-1 della Danimarca ad Oslo, dove la Norvegia era andata in vantaggio nel primo tempo con Sundby, ecco il gol. Nella ripresa c'è stato un gran lavoro da parte dei 3 italiani, Laudrup, Elkier e Berggren, e di Laudrup, eccolo, il gol del pareggio, il 17esimo in 26 partite della nazionale. Poi su azione di Laudrup raddoppia Lerby su calcio di rigore, il fallo era stato su Arnesen, quindi assist di Laudrup per Elkier che segna il terzo gol, e ancora una doppietta conclusiva di Klaus Berggren e qualificazione quasi certa per l'enorme differenza reti della Danimarca sulla Svizzera, che la può raggiungere in classifica. Ecco l'ultimo gol. Anche l'Unione Sovietica è quasi sicura della qualificazione dopo la vittoria sull'Eire di Brady, che è stato invece definitivamente eliminato. Al diretto Casarin davanti a 100.000 spettatori i gol di Cherenkov e Protasov, ecco il raddoppio. A Bruxelles, nell'andata dello spareggio fra Belgio e Olanda, seconde piazzati in 2 gironi da 4 squadre, l'Olanda, che ha avuto il pisano Kift espulso dall'arbitro Delia proprio in apertura, ha perso per 1-0 con questo gol di Verkauteren. Il ritorno il 20 novembre a Rotterdam. Grossa impresa dell'Irlanda del Nord a Bucarest, battendo per 1-0 la Romania con un gol di Quinn, i britannici si sono quasi qualificati. Grande partita del loro portiere, il 40enne Jennings. Ora l'Irlanda del Nord va ai mondiali, si ottiene un pareggio in Inghilterra avendo 2 punti di vantaggio sulla Romania che giocherà in Turchia. Ecco il gol partita da parte di Quinn.
The German national anthem played as Australia lined up to face Israel. It didn't help to diffuse tempers in a match where David Radcliffe put Australia 1 up midway through the first half. But the keeper seems to be at fault here. Israel equalised early in the second half from this corner, with the referee well placed to see that the ball had crossed the line before being kicked clear. The undercurrent of ill feeling, though, surfaced when Israel had a player sent off, apparently for swearing at the referee, and then became the target for some violent protest.
Looking like this, New Zealand on top with 7 points from 4 games, 1 point more than Australia. And it's looking more and more as if Scotland obviously face that long trip to meet one of those two. The lead will surely change again tomorrow when Australia play Taiwan in Sydney.
The tie was a comedy of errors between Norwegian defenders Koyedal and Hans Hermann Henriksen. No wonder they held their heads as the Soviets celebrated, because their goalkeeper Desaev had kept them in the game until this 58th minute incident when number 11 Kondrachev jabbed the ball forward, and that farcical mix-up in the snow sent the Soviet Union to the sunshine of next summer's World Cup finals.
From Group 6 will surely be Denmark. Their goal difference is vastly superior to that of Switzerland.
France in the blue shirts took the lead after just 4 minutes. The scorer, Dominique Rocheteau, who was to become the key figure in this comfortable victory. But it was right-back Ayash whose crosses provided the first 2 goals. The second headed in here by José Touré, who's told his club Nantes that he doesn't really like playing as a striker. Platini's free kick now, Rocheteau's glancing header, and that was 3-0 to France on the half hour. Platini also set up the 4th and best goal for Alain Giresse, and it was clear by now that the reunion of the first-choice French midfield spelt big trouble for Luxembourg. A penalty by Luis Fernandez made it 5-0 early in the second half, and soon afterwards, from Jean Tigana's pass, Rocheteau cleverly foxed the keeper to complete his hat-trick and make the final score France 6, Luxembourg 0.
France move into second place, and a draw against Yugoslavia at home on November the 16th should take them to the finals. 4 days after that group is settled.
The match was a bit of a disaster for Israel's goalkeeper Haviv, who began by giving Winton Rufer the chance to put New Zealand ahead after only 2 minutes. Rufer had left FC Zurich without permission, but gained FIFA's approval to play. But early joy was wiped out by some poor defending, which allowed Israel's Arab forward, Zahi Ameli, to equalise in the 23rd minute. A test for New Zealand's character, it might be said. If so, Michael Dunford soon had a point to make, losing his marker to restore the lead. Without the suspended Eli Ohana, Israel were never again in the hunt. And another moment of generosity by Haviv in the 65th minute led Colin Walker to prove that he had a rather higher IQ, and New Zealand were back on top of the group, if only briefly, for the next day in Sydney, Australia would take full advantage of the frailties of Taiwan and give the home commentator a stern test in adjustment from Australian rules football.
The Australians didn't score until the 40th minute of the first half, the ball coming free from a corner and a Jarkov with an extremely neat chip with the keeper off his line and in the puddles. In the second half, the floodgates opened. Joe Watson providing the cross, Crino a crashing shot to make it 2-0 after Kosmina chested down. The third goal, the keeper again up with a punch away, but look at this shot from Ajarkov, threading the needle with a late in-swinging shot. Ajarkov and Kosmina scored again, Kosmina from the penalty spot, before this effort set up by Joe Watson in the midfield. Farina cutting back inside again, and he takes the 1-2 from Kosmina, but Kosmina decides to have the shot, and that's an acceptable looking shot from the Australian captain. Again, the Australians on the attack down the right side through Farina, and this time it's little Joey Watson taking it to the byline, and have a look at this shot. Kosmina the header, and his hat-trick. Australia 8 goals, Ajarkov scored a hat-trick, Kosmina 3, Crino and Gray added the others.
New Zealand both remain unbeaten then, and a win for the Aussies over New Zealand in Sydney tomorrow will be enough to clinch that playoff with Scotland. New Zealand, well, they need to either win tomorrow, or if they draw, they'll then need to win their final game in Israel on Sunday week.
Both countries recalled exiles for the Santiago meeting, and Jorge Aravena, one of Chile's, opened the scoring in the 5th minute. Akazuzo, Peru's goalkeeper, didn't look too good on that one, and neither did he on Chile's second, scored by Rubio, another of the exiles, 3 minutes later. When a third wanderer returned, Hissis made it 3-0 after 40 minutes. This two-leg semi-final seemed to have only one outcome, especially when Diaz, Peru's skipper, was sent off. But the returning goal of the 1978 hero, Quiroga, brought some stability, and on the stroke of half-time, Navarro gave Peru a flicker of hope. A penalty decision in the 65th minute, Araveño stepping up to score from the penalty spot, seemed to have extinguished it.
Chile 4, Peru 1.
But Navarro's near-post header, 40 minutes from the end, left tomorrow's return leg nicely poised at Chile 4, Peru 2.
La qualificazione per il Mondiale di calcio del Messico è la 16ª formazione già qualificata. 2 le promosse in questo girone, il sesto insieme ai sovietici, probabilmente anche la Danimarca, alla quale basterà un pareggio il 13 novembre con l'Eire. Vicina alla qualificazione anche la Francia, che ieri sera al Parco dei Principi parigino ha superato il Lussemburgo. Alla Francia, in difficoltà nel girone 4, dove è stata già promossa la Bulgaria, si imponeva un successo con largo margine per incrementare la sua differenza reti e garantirsi in vista dell'ultimo impegno con la Jugoslavia. E i transalpini hanno tenuto fede agli obblighi, travolgendo i modesti lussemburghesi per 6-0. E i gol avrebbero potuto essere ancora di più se i francesi nel secondo tempo, invece di andare alla ricerca del difficile, fossero stati più concreti. Protagonista della serata il centravanti Rocheteau, autore di una tripletta. In gol anche il giovane attaccante Touré, Giresse e Fernandez, che ha trasformato un rigore. Tra i marcatori manca il nome di Platini, ma lo juventino è stato comunque tra i migliori, distribuendo invitanti palloni ai compagni. 2 i gol su suoi suggerimenti e 2 le reti da lui fallite per poco. Platini al 90° ha anche battuto il portiere, ma l'arbitro, prima che il capitano scoccasse il tiro, ha fischiato la fine.
Most of Tokyo's workforce were poised to celebrate Japan's match of such moment, but it was to be South Korea's day. Jung Yong-hwan was the first name, or names to note, an excellent answer to a poor clearance. There was time very nearly for a team photograph before Lee Tai-ho showed that subtlety in finishing is also a Korean quality. Kazushi Kimura did give the locals something to celebrate. But with the return leg coming up in Seoul tomorrow, it looks awfully like sayonara.
It's passage to the finals, the first time they've reached that stage since 1954. Chile also took a further step to Mexico. Aravena setting up a final playoff stage against Paraguay with that free kick goal against Peru. The Oceania group has finally been settled, with Australia emerging winners. They now remain the final obstruction to Scotland's 4th successive qualification for the finals.
Australia in the gold shirts took the lead after 12 minutes. The scorer was the former Arsenal player John Kosmina, now making a name for himself down under. Australia's second goal came 3 minutes after half-time. Joe Watson's corner headed in there by Dave Mitchell, the former Glasgow Rangers player, who will relish the forthcoming playoff against Scotland, as will coach Frank Arok.
Hoddle on the left foot. And Jennings.
Heart-stopping moments at Wembley last night, and for the tens of thousands of fans who stayed at home, that final whistle couldn't have come soon enough.
Absolutely fantastic. Thought that was a brilliant match. Great defence by Northern Ireland. Super, absolutely brilliant.
There's obviously going to be some criticism that England may have given them the two today. Single point.
I don't think so at all. You can see by the way England attacked right from the word go that I don't think anybody could say it was a fix. Not at all, you know.
Are you sorry you weren't there?
Oh, yeah. A couple of mates were over, and we wish I was there. Absolutely.
Fantastic. Really exciting.
Are you a football fan?
Not really, but I think I'll be there to support Northern Ireland and Mexico next year.
What about you? What did you think?
Fantastic.
England never do us any favours and they never will do.
Do you think they might have been a bit unlucky with a couple of goal chances?
I always say they were, but Pat Dennis was there and he done the job.
He was superb, wasn't he?
Brilliant.
I think probably, Jim, England deserved to win by 1-0, but Ireland deserved the draw because of the determination. And that's the result. It's fantastic.
Agree with that.
Let me ask you about this one from Glenn Hoddle, who, of course, you know very well.
Well, here again, it was just Norman Whiteside's gone to close him down, and he's got a fantastic curling shot in the top corner. I think really it was the only place that he could hit, you know.
So it's involved a couple of little beats with your feet there, 1, 2 to get the spring, but it is in that top corner.
The ground on that top end of the pitch was very, very slippery, early on in the match.
And Billy, this one, which was a deflected cross, which was so difficult, the timing of that punch off Dixon's head.
Yes, if Pat hadn't come out there, I think Dixon would have had a go.
This is it coming up again, because it's dropping right onto Kerry's head here, Billy.
Yes, I can see that. And I think Pat knew that, so that's why he left his line. Mind you, he doesn't often leave the line these days, you know.
Well, this is the one you say about leaving his line. This is the heart-stopping moment with about 5 minutes to go, Pat. Did you think this was over the top of you?
Yes, I did. You know, even now watching, I think it's still going to go in, you know. But thankfully I got rid of it over the right side, the crossbar.
It is an incredible moment. I really thought it was in, and so did Alan McDonald. Up go his hands as a protection,
I
perhaps
think
a penalty.
that is his best save of the match.
Group 6.
Lawrenson again. Two very experienced sides. Ireland with nearly 300 caps between them. The Danes with over 300. As Cascarino breaks, not a bad-looking cross! Oh, what about the cross and what about the goal? Stapleton the scorer. Sieverbeck past Beglan. In goes Elker. Well, what about that? Martin Olsen. Up goes Elker. The flick on to Laudrup. Let's see what the young man can do. Holds off O'Leary beautifully. That's beautiful skill. What a goal. Laudrup supplies one to Sieverbeck. Good run this by the number 2. Moran goes to intercept. Beglan goes as well. That's a brilliant goal by John Sieverbeck, the fullback. His first international goal. Elker is pulling in to make contact. Here's Berggren. Elker. Ball for Denmark.
And there are the final standings in Group 6. Denmark on top with 11 points. One more than the Soviet Union, who also qualify. Switzerland's 1-1 draw with Norway, a meaningless match. Now,
3 gol importanti. Il vantaggio della formazione irlandese con questo bellissimo colpo di testa di Stapleton al 6° minuto del primo tempo. Rasmussen è battuto imparabilmente, ma soltanto un minuto dopo Elkjær Larsen, l'attaccante veronese, dà dimostrazione della sua abilità sotto rete. Sul traversone dalla destra si inserisce molto rapidamente, lo vediamo con il numero 10, e precede portiere e difensori avversari. 1-1. Nella ripresa la svolta decisiva della partita, che ha avuto un altro protagonista nel difensore esterno, lo vedremo con il numero 2, il danese Sieverbeck, che ha messo il suo zampino un po' in tutte le azioni più importanti e determinanti. Qui comunque è bravissimo Laudrup, gli tocca la palla a Elkjær, Laudrup poi fa tutto da solo difendendosi dall'attacco dei difensori e spiazzando poi il portiere con questo tiro molto calibrato. 2-1 al 3° minuto della ripresa. Al 10° minuto il terzo gol, quello di Sieverbeck già citato, lo vedremo tra poco. Su un pallone lanciato da Brady verso la difesa avversaria, intercettato dai difensori centrali danesi. Ancora Laudrup che tocca indietro finché la palla arriverà a Sieverbeck, che chiede lo scambio con il compagno e si lancia in questa galoppata verso la porta avversaria. Difesa completamente sbilanciata, Sieverbeck entra in area, è un po' fortunato nel tiro, ma comunque al termine della sua bella azione realizza il terzo gol per la Danimarca. L'ultimo gol dei danesi, del 4-1 danese, segnato alla mezz'ora ancora da Elkjær Larsen, che è in questo momento il miglior cannoniere nella fase di qualificazione europea per il mondiale 1986. Vedremo ancora un bel gol manovrato con uno splendido passaggio un bellissimo lancio di Sivebek ancora e uno splendido tocco di Berggren a smarcare
Chile might have been happy with a 2-goal deficit, but it was this third Paraguay goal, a classic own goal by Garrido, just 6 minutes from time, which leaves them struggling. To be fair, the Paraguay player at the back post would probably have scored anyway. 3-0 to...
Yes, Ian, Chile in red needed an early goal in Santiago to stand any chance of getting back into this playoff, and they got it from Rubio after 13 minutes. But Chile couldn't sustain their attempted comeback, and Schetina struck back for Paraguay midway through the first half, virtually sealing Paraguay's place in the finals for the first time since 1958. But their qualification has been marred by the resignation of their coach, Cayetano Rey, in protest against earlier criticisms of his team. Romero added another for Paraguay a minute before half-time, though their final aggregate margin of victory was cut back to 5-2 by a consolation goal for Chile from Munoz.
Paraguay in white were 3-0 up from the first leg, so this 2-2 draw suited them fine. Chetina's goal levelled an earlier effort by Chile's Hugo Rubio, but it was Paraguay's second from Romero, who plays in Brazil for Fluminense, which clinched their place in the finals for the first time since 1958. Romero was later among those hurt in a crowd riot caused by angry Chile fans. In Paris, Michel Platini produced his now customary conjuring tricks to send France to Mexico by virtue of a 2-0 win over Yugoslavia. That first goal came inside 3 minutes, and it was the third World Cup running in which the French have booked their ticket in their final qualifying match in Paris, with Platini scoring each time at that same end in the Parc des Princes. This time he made doubly sure by scoring the second goal 20 minutes from the end. So France ended the hopes of both Yugoslavia and East Germany, and it's worth noting the part played in that second goal by José Touré, the Nantes player they've pressed into service as a striker. His deft header set up Platini for a shot which couldn't have been better placed, nor better timed to signal celebrations in his homeland. In Rotterdam, Holland, in the orange shirt, started the second leg of their playoff against Belgium 1-0 down, and with an hour gone, that was still the position. Then the Dutch created their first decent scoring chance. A mistake by Gerrits allowed De Witt to get in his cross, and Peter Houtman headed his 7th goal in 8 internationals. It levelled the aggregate at 1-1 and put the Dutch back in business in front of a capacity crowd. Mind you, when you see the replay, you may feel that Belgium's goalkeeper Jean-Marie Pfaff should have come for the cross, or that Houtman was doing some pushing as he headed the goal. But there was no mistaking the quality of Holland's second goal 12 minutes later. Some delightful approach work on the right here by Ruud Gullit, quite out of keeping with an otherwise tense and substandard Dutch performance. René van der Eycken inadvertently deflected the cross. Pfaff was always stretching, and De Witt, this time, was the executioner. No wonder De Witt was ecstatic. He'd kept Dutch hopes alive in their original group when he scored the winning goal against Hungary in Budapest, and now his goal here put Holland 2-0 up on the night, 2-1 in front on aggregate, and at that stage, on course for Mexico. In conceding this second goal, Belgium were beginning to regret the number of chances they'd spurned at the other end. But although they were 2-1 down, Belgium knew an away goal now would put them back in front. And that's exactly what they got 5 minutes from time. Gerrits' cross and George Grun's header. The irony was that Grun, the Anderlecht defender, had only come on as a second-half substitute to mark Holland's John van Loon when the Dutch changed their tactics. Now he cropped up at centre-forward to head a priceless goal. It made the final aggregate score 2-2 and sent Belgium to Mexico on the away goals rule.
That Brazil, Argentina and Uruguay head the bookies table. Holders Italy head the European challenge at 7-1, with France and West Germany at 8-1 and England 10-1. Now let's look for Scotland. Should they qualify, the Scots are being quoted at, there they are, 33-1. What about Northern Ireland? Going through at 100-1. Just looking down the list, Australia are 500-1.
Hier is Salp naast de bal. Eerste keer dat we de wit zien, een gevaarlijke. Houtman is het. U ziet waar het kan van afhangen. Pandemonium. Gerrit, balbot. De Wit. Zijn eerste goede voorzet. En daar een van de twee vuurtorens, Houtman. Zijn doelpunt. Gullit. Knap. Dat is de man van de toekomst. Als men hem in Nederland kan houden. Niet gedaan, De Wit. En Nederland gaat voorlopig naar Mexico. 2 halve kansen, 2 doelpunten. Robbie Wit alweer. Moeten wel zeggen dat men de spanning crescendo laat gaan. Nog. Kan nog altijd daar. Een omhaal. Frankie Verkouteren. Keulemans. Och, weer gered. Van Breukelen. En dan, het is niet te geloven. Dat kan niet zijn. Ja, nee. Ze gaan lopen, ze gaan lopen. Het is niet te geloven. Volledig in paniek. Daar is hem, daar is hem. Ik weet zelfs niet wie het is, maar we zijn alweer op weg naar Mexico. George Groen. Oh. Kon niet blijven duren, kon niet blijven duren. Hier is het dan. Bij de 19e kans, maar ik kan mij vergissen, het kan ook de 29e geweest zijn. Is daar Groen. En voor 1 keer Van Breukelen machteloos. Kom maar zo.
Hozov.
Dariusz Jekanovski will clearly be a player to look out for in Mexico. His goal in the 6th minute was enough to beat the current World Cup holders. In Munich, West Germany, playing their last qualifying match against the already eliminated Czechoslovakia, came up with a strike to match that of the Pole, and even earlier in the match. From a free kick by Rummenigge, Andreas Bremer scored after only 40 seconds. But it proved to be another embarrassing night for Franz Beckenbauer's team. Vizek's break led to Novak hitting the equaliser in the 52nd minute. And 9 minutes later, Czechoslovakia were in front. Attacking fullbacks with defensive frailties seemed to be all the rage these days. Lauda saying a passing thank you to the former hero Bremer. Beckenbauer may have wished he was watching Boris Becker, like the majority of Germans, but at least his team avoided a 2nd consecutive defeat at home when Rummenigge won a 6-stroke rally to make it 2-all. But while the West German challenge has doubts, the East's is no more. They beat Bulgaria 2-1, but Gotchev's goal for the losers was a winning salute before departure for sunnier climes.
Another team of would-be conquering heroes touches down on British soil. The Socceroos arrive for their World Cup qualifying game against Scotland. And they come at a time when Australia's sporting prestige is not at its highest.
On right through him. Clean bowl.
Australia have come this far thanks to cleaning up the Oceania group. But their manager, Frank Arrock, knows that now against Scotland, they're moving up a class.
If you would compare man by man, so player for player, we haven't got any chance at all. We should have been clever enough not to come at all. But sport is a battle, competition, and there are always some unexpected. And we want to serve that unexpected to everyone here.
The questions here are polite, but the underlying tone stops only just short of incredulity. No such scepticism back home when Premier Bob Hawke, no less, saw them on their way. Australia's soccer players have a case to make not only to the world, but to their own public.
Oh, I think it does. I think after Wednesday we'll be treated a lot more seriously than we've ever been treated before. Because there's some good players in Australia. The amount of young people that play it definitely compares with Britain. And I think now that people will take interest because he's doing well in the World Cup. And I think the weather's good for playing Australia and for coaching and teaching. And I think they're willing to learn, more willing to learn than the British kids.
The great gamblers back in Australia, what are the bookies saying about your chances?
There's not too many people back in Australia, but I would certainly put some money on us, an each way bet. We might get beat in Scotland, but we'll catch up in Australia.
Eddie Thompson is one of 4 members of the squad with Scottish origins. A couple of them played for Dundee United. Dave Mitchell used to wear the number 9 shirt for Rangers. But how does he see himself now, as a man with his heart still in the Highlands, or as a born-again Australian?
Well, I've lived in Australia most of my life, so I'd say I'm Australian.
You don't sound very Australian.
Well, it's a long story.
Are you going to have a few relations there?
Yes, well, all my family's still there, so they'll all be there, I suppose, and I suppose deep down they'll be hoping that Scotland win, but I suppose we're hoping that I'll play well, you know.
A funny old family reunion for you, isn't it?
Especially if we win. There won't be very many smiles going around, I don't think.
The very first day I arrived in Australia, they took me to see a game. There was about 20,000 people there at a really nice stadium. And I thought, oh, fantastic, you know. And then they took me to their home ground the next day, which was a bit of a dump, so half and half.
Now Oscar Crino. Crino playing that near post. Kosmina, 1-0.
The skipper and the scorer of many of the Socceroos' goals is John Kosmina, who had a season with Arsenal. Kosmina's well aware of the opportunity that beckons for Australian soccer.
Well, it's been great for Australian soccer. We've been in the doldrums for the last probably 10 years, I think, since we qualified for Munich. We never really took it on from there and really promoted the game, and we've picked up more publicity in the last 2 months than soccer has in the past 4 or 5 years.
And you have to compete with a lot of other sports, I suppose.
Well, we've got rugby league, which is very big in the eastern states, rugby union, which is big. You've got Australian rules football. You know, they're the big crowd getters in Australia, and we've taken a lot of prestige off of them at the moment, especially with Australians as people love to have the Australian national team doing well at anything. And with you people just knocking the ashes off us and getting beaten by the Kiwis last week, the cricketers have had a fairly low ebb, and soccer's been winning. And as I said, Australians love winners, so it's been great. They've really got behind us.
Today, it's just like home from home at their luxurious British watering hole. But Hampden Park will be less hospitable on Wednesday, a harder place to demonstrate the qualities that have so far brought the Aussies halfway around the world.
Souness is there, Strachan is there, and Cooper is there, with a vengeance. A very, very important goal for Scotland. It's come from Davy Cooper. 12 minutes into the second half. Cooper saw a gap and found it. And Greedy, I think, was caught in too central a position. On from Dalglish, and McAvenny's onside. It's 2.
Moved up by McAvenny.
raramente, ma con una vittoria seppure inutile, 2-1 sul Belgio, che aveva vinto all'andata per 1-0. Ecco il gol di Outman al quarto d'ora della ripresa su cross di De Witte, che porta in vantaggio l'Olanda. Olanda che poco dopo raddoppia, ecco il cross di Gullit per De Witte che segna, e il 2-0 a questo punto qualificherebbe proprio la formazione olandese. Ma a 5 minuti dalla fine il gol del difensore Grun, su azione impostata dagli ex italiani Van der Eyck e Gerets, dà al Belgio una qualificazione che tutto sommato appare meritata. 2-0 della Scozia a Glasgow sull'Australia nell'andata dell'altro spareggio. I gol in 3 minuti a metà ripresa, prima una punizione di Cooper che abbiamo appena visto, e dopo il raddoppio del debuttante McAvenny con una bella manovra che ha scavalcato il portiere Gridi. Rivediamo anche questa azione del raddoppio, che è stata una delle cose più belle della partita, e ricordiamo anche che l'incontro di ritorno si disputerà il 4 dicembre a Melbourne. La Spagna ha vinto in Svizzera 1-0 con gol di Enes, che l'Uruguay ha pareggiato 1-1 e che la Bulgaria ha battuto la Danimarca per 3-0. Vediamo le immagini del 3-0 con cui il Brasile ha battuto la DDR. Abbiamo visto il primo gol segnato da Müller ed ora stiamo seguendo l'azione che ha portato al raddoppio di Alemão. Il terzo gol è stato segnato nella ripresa ed è abbastanza curioso perché ha segnato Careca, ma in realtà la palla non è entrata in rete, ma è passata attraverso un buco nella porta. Giustissime le proteste dei giocatori della DDR, la ripetizione conferma che non era gol, il terzo gol del Brasile. E dopo aver visto la partita del Brasile vediamo il 3-1 con cui l'Ungheria ha battuto la Spagna nell'altra semifinale del campionato europeo Under 21. Nella prima l'Italia ha battuto, come si sa, l'Inghilterra ieri a Pisa col punteggio di 2-0. Il primo gol l'abbiamo visto, è stato segnato da Balog. Questo sempre il primo tempo è il pareggio spagnolo di Begiristan. Il primo tempo si conclude 1-1, nella ripresa prima c'è questo gol segnato da Šekerc e poi per questo fallo ancora su Šekerc Kovacs realizza il rigore che dà il punteggio per 3-1. Il match di ritorno, come quello di Italia-Jugoslavia, si disputerà il 23 di aprile.
Quest'anno che non fa le Coppe d'Europa,
comunque
anche
qui
gli
vediamo,
italiani, diciamo
qui,
che
se non vi dispiace,
la novità è che l'inglese, senza l'inglese, italiani e tedeschi non sono neanche in finale.
Sì, sono gli spagnoli che dominano. Qui abbiamo visto un tiro di Magath
Lo
da una
conosciamo anche bene,
posizione che vi dovrebbe ricordare qualche cosa.
Sì.
Più o meno era proprio quell'altezza, un po' più spostato ancora a sinistra. Un po' più alla sinistra.
Sì, ma qua non ha sbagliato il calcio.
No, l'altra volta invece ha sbagliato e segnato. Parliamo, per chi non l'avesse capito, di Atene, della finale di Hamburgo.
Sì, e qua vediamo un bellissimo gol di testa, stupendo.
È molto bravo Enes, qui fa un movimento di torsione veramente...
Si è preso il posto di Wöhler e adesso giocheranno può darsi con Rummenigge
ecco, Beckenbauer
e Enes davanti. Ma la Germania è una grande squadra, io l'avevo visto l'anno scorso quando noi giocavamo in Bulgaria, andare a vincere 5-1 in Cecoslovacchia, aveva fatto un'impressione tremenda. C'era quello Bertold, terzino destro, c'era il centrocampista Erget che sono giocatori, ma aveva fatto una pressione tremenda.
Ecco, mentre rivediamo queste immagini, mi rivolgo invece a Giovanni Trapattoni proprio come allenatore. Beckenbauer, a differenza di altri suoi colleghi che stanno scegliendo tutti i 22, lo ha fatto 2 giorni fa Bearzot inserendo De Napoli, è una piacevole novità, ma dicevo, a differenza degli altri ha scelto addirittura 26 uomini riservandosi poi di toglierne 4. Secondo te psicologicamente è giusto questo o no?
Dipende, noi non abbiamo forse una valutazione completa di quelle che possono essere le condizioni più che tecniche, direi fisiche, forse dei giocatori, perché indubbiamente sicuramente Beckenbauer sui 26, non dimenticare che sono state delle squadre che sono presentati addirittura in 28, non cioè in 28 scusa, in 18, 20 non aggiungendone gli altri 2, no? Quindi a mio avviso dovrà avere un'ulteriore forse valutazione delle risposte forse sul piano proprio fisico di certi giocatori.
La Bulgaria e il gruppo A interessa l'Italia, ne parleremo nella prossima puntata, ma qui ci interessa in particolare la Danimarca, incompleta in questa circostanza contro una Bulgaria che si è espressa bene e della quale Danimarca vorrei da Michel Platini una valutazione. Mancavano
questa Danimarca mancava 9 giocatori,
sì, ma in generale
soltanto 1-2.
Certo.
È un centrocampo fortissimo, 2 attaccanti validissimi come il Carelaudo che conosciamo e soprattutto una difesa che ha articolato con Olsen, che è un grande libero, che è il libero dell'Anderlecht, che ha 36 anni ma è lui che dirige tutto. Dopo c'è l'Erbi un po' che fa il gioco e davanti hanno questi due che l'altro per il KR, se no
ritmi,
vorremmo anche averle noi.
Ritmi, e lo chiedo anche a Giovanni Trapattoni, il problema dei ritmi della squadra
danese, che è una squadra che gioca sulla velocità, sul piano del gioco molto brioso, con problemi eventualmente in Messico per l'altura?
Non lo so, io non ho mai giocato un'altura, penso che rispetto al 70 tutte le squadre saranno meglio preparati, perché sono passati 16 anni con tutti i problemi fisici, tutti i mezzi.
Prima svolta dell'incontro con un autogol di McCarthy a favore ovviamente dell'Uruguay contro Soncan, segna ormai il francese lo dominiamo praticamente.
Sì, quasi.
Poi c'è il pareggio, come vedremo. Ecco, l'Uruguay secondo me è una squadra che può essere pericolosa. L'era stata già in Messico nel 1970, Giovanni, per questo suo gioco abbastanza ragionato che non impone grandissimi sprechi.
Che in 34 e 38.
Al di là delle vittorie.
No, poi è una squadra che, non dimentichiamoci che in attacco come valori tecnici non hanno nulla da invidiare a gente come brasiliani e argentini, oppure non oserei dire la Francia, perché hanno alcune concezioni differenti. Però è gente che sa trattare la palla in avanti, e non dimentichiamoci che dietro gli uruguaiani, se vogliono essere duri arcigni, sono piuttosto duri arcigni.
Sono molto duri arcigni, senza dubbio. Intanto vediamo il pareggio che è sul calcio di rigore di Daly per un fallo commesso in precedenza su Orridge, e diciamo che questo rimane...
Soon a goal down to Finland. Ari Hjelm, the scorer after 14 minutes. The Portuguese were below par and had to wait until 18 minutes from time to avoid an embarrassing home defeat. Gomez then set up Diamantino for the equaliser. Spain, who are in Northern Ireland's group, were more convincing against the Soviet Union, another of the World Cup qualifiers, with Salinas marking his international debut with the opening goal. And he wasn't offside when the ball was played to him. The goal delighting the crowd in Las Palmas in the Canary Islands.
Corner for Germany. Briegel again, he's got it this time, in under the bar. And 1 minute and 20 seconds gone. West Germany take the lead. Briegel last scored against Italy nearly 2 years ago.
Reward. Peter Beardsley's control under challenge from Bubnov being matched by his low cross, which enabled Chris Waddle to find an excellent finish to the move he'd started. The Soviet Union 0, England 1.
Rangers defender Alan McDonald marking his first appearance in Belfast for his country with his first international goal. But 12 minutes from time, Danish substitute Flemming Christensen headed the equaliser, the first goal Northern Ireland had conceded in 7 games.
It couldn't have been worse. Mexico scored the only goal of the game through Xavier Aguirre in the 10th minute. By then, it was evident it was to be a bitty and brutal afternoon. Late in the second half, Uruguay did get the ball in the net, but the goal was disallowed for a foul by the American referee, Angelo Brazzi. Brazzi booked several players in a match that was beyond his control. At the final whistle, this happened. The Uruguayan captain and goalkeeper Rodolfo Rodriguez is the man at the centre of the action. 47,000 people watched the game, many from Los Angeles' large Mexican population. Some of the fans were involved.
Fast that Mourinho headed Brazil into the lead. We've come to expect a Brazilian samba, but Mourinho turned his celebrations into a breakdance. But a more serious analysis of the goal shows a well-timed and perfectly directed header into the far corner. There followed 2 goals in the last 2 minutes of the game. The first following a corner which wasn't cleared and a complete miscue, or is it a dummy, before a terrific strike from Oscar. 2-0 to the Brazilians against a side, remember, who England beat 5-0 on their way to qualifying for Mexico. Here comes the second goal again, and apart from the dummy come miscue, it's clear Oscar's shot takes a heavy deflection en route to the net. 1 minute later, and with 60 seconds of the game remaining, Brazil got a third. A gift, really, as the Finnish defender's dreadful back pass provided the perfect opportunity for Casagrande. Another celebration on its way, and one of which Mike Shannon would approve. The old Shannon windmill arm. 3-0 then, well-taken goals, but don't be fooled. Brazil still not firing on all cylinders, and the World Cup finals wide open to a really informed team.
10 yards, and the referee insisting. It's a clip from Hoddle, met by Goff. Here's Hodge, and Butcher! Against the run of play, Terry Butcher gives England the lead. Here's one. Sansom ahead of him and in space. Well hit, and Rough lost it. And England lead 2-0 Glenn Hoddle. Reid using Waddle. And Chris Waddle guilty of giving the ball away again. And this is Goff. Nicholas. Past Butcher, who caught him, and Scotland have a penalty. A great chance to get back in the game here with Souness, who scores. The Belgian side in red broke through 2 minutes before half-time. Owen Vandenberg cutting the ball back, Jan Kerlemans against the bar, and Philippe de Smet collecting the rebound for his first goal for his country. 10 minutes into the second half, de Smet turned creator. And Vandenberg, who scored the opening goal in the 1982 World Cup finals, showing he's in tune for Mexico. Belgium 2, Bulgaria 0.
With that sort of ability, the World Cup will be poorer for his absence. But then how about this from the Soviet Union's Rodionov? As a team, though, the Soviet Union are having a poor time of it. Shivadze, who missed a penalty against England, did so again, and it led to another defeat, with Kamataru finishing quite typically on the near post. It gave Romania a 2-1 victory, their first ever against the Soviet Union, and left their supporters to wonder even more how they missed out on the road to Mexico.